Chapter 921. Arrogantly denouncing the crime, you're Pengzhan, aren't you? The man in the Taoist robe pushed the door open and walked in. The bastards downstairs dared stop me from coming up, so I've taken care of them myself. Ah. Pengzhan paused, shocked by the sudden entrance. May I ask if you're Zhizun Wei, Mr. Wei? That's me. The man in the Taoist robe nodded and said, the security guards here are too inferior. How dare they come out and embarrass themselves with such skills? The phone on Pengzhan's desk rang just as Wei Zhizun finished his sentence. Pengzhan smiled bitterly as he picked up the phone. It was indeed the security captain, saying that a domineering man had barged into the company and was looking for Pengzhan. He'd even injured 2 of the security guards. Pengzhan didn't know what to say, but he couldn't blame Wei Zhizun at a time like this. After all, Faubert's juniors were relying on him. He only told the captain that everything was fine, and told him to send the 2 injured guards to the hospital for treatment. Mr. Wei, you're quite skilled, but you don't have to be calculative with normal people, do you? Pengzhan put down the phone and stood up. My daughter and I'll be relying on you from now on. Of course, of course. Wei Zhizun said proudly. I'm a mystic supreme, I have no problem keeping you safe, but as for the commission, the Bodyguard company told me already, 200,000 a month, no problem at all. Pengzhan nodded, thinking of Lin Yi. 30,000 was quite cheap, but it was his old man who had set the price, and he didn't have the right to interfere. No, that's the company's price. Wei Zhizun shook his head. That money is for the company, so you have to pay me 300,000 a month. Pengzhan paused, not expecting Wei Zhizun to be this greedy. What? You can't afford it? Then I'll have to leave. Wei Zhizun said as he stood up to leave. Please don't be angry, Mr. Wei. Fine, 300,000 it is. Pengzhan had no choice but to agree. 500,000 for a big shot, but Pengzhan had no choice but to keep him. That's what I said. 500,000 to hire a mystic class supreme being, that's a pretty good deal for you. Wei Zhizun nodded and laughed. Pengzhan wasn't too clear on the levels of strength, and he didn't know how strong a mystic prime was, but it sounded like it was pretty strong. Otherwise, he wouldn't have dared to raise the price like this. Alright, then according to the contract, the probation period is 1 month, and the salary will start next month? Pengzhan asked. Those are the company's rules. Wei Zhizun shook his head. This Wei's rule is that the probation period is 1 day, and the salary will be paid starting tomorrow. Alright, no problem. Pengzhan sighed. Wasn't this bodyguard a little too cocky? Who was the employer? But Wei Zhizun was right, a mystic class supreme being a bodyguard for a commoner. How could that be possible if there wasn't a huge benefit to it? But as the 2 were talking, the office door was pushed open once more, and 3 arrogant people walked in. This time, the security captain downstairs didn't dare to stop them. Who knew what kind of people were coming today? Previously, there was an old man in a Taoist robe who hurt people without saying a word. Now, these 3 people didn't say anything and just rushed inside angrily. Where's Pengzhan? You've got some guts, haven't you? How dare you mess with someone from the Shao family? Shao Ji barked as soon as he walked in. Pengzhan had met Shao Ji before, and knew that he was from the Shao family. Pengzhan Industries had done business with the Shao family before. As for what happened to the Shao family recently, Pengzhan knew that the Shao family came to Songshan to invest, but he didn't know why the Shao family would come to his office all of a sudden. It seemed like they were here to interrogate him. Mr. Shao, may I know how I've offended the Shao family? Pengzhan looked at the murderous Shao Ji and Shao Ben, confused. Were these 2 mistaken? Pengzhan Industries' recent business had nothing to do with the Shao family, and there was no way they'd offended the Shao family. Your daughter humiliated my wife, go Huli. Shao Ji laughed coldly. My Shao family just came to Songshan, and you're already trying to show us who's boss. Is it because the old man who bullied our Shao family just passed away, and our Shao family is unable to recover from this setback. A tiger that falls to the plains will be bullied by dogs. Mr. Shaoji, what do you mean by that? When did my daughter humiliate your wife? Peng Zhan frowned. Besides, there's no way you're trying to show us who's boss. Peng Zhan Industries has done business with the Shao family before, and I can't wait to welcome your investment here. Why would I bully you? Humph. You make it sound so nice. Our Shao family is still bigger than a starving camel, and you're one of the biggest corporations in the area. Aren't you afraid that our Shao family will come and take away your business? Shaoji humphed. So you instigated your daughter to humiliate my wife in every possible way, to attack our Shao family's position in Songshan. Mr. Shaoji, why am I getting more and more confused? Business is business, and since it's business, naturally there are buyers and sellers. Business is only business when there are more people. Why would I be afraid of you guys taking away my business? Peng Zhan had his suspicions, but Shaoji's words made sense. Peng Zhan felt that something wasn't quite right. It seemed like the Shaos were here to cause trouble on purpose. Alright, Mr. Chu, we're all smart people, let's cut the bullshit. Xiao Ben, who had been standing at the side, spoke up. Why don't you just ask your daughter? She and this Shu person bullied my sister-in-law, Go Huli, how could we say anything? Peng Zhan paused. If Xiao Ben said that his daughter was with Shu, then it couldn't be nonsense. Could it be that Yao Yao offended that Go Huli again? Alright, since Mr. Xiao is so insistent, I'll ask my daughter first. Peng Zhan had no choice but to nod. Hurry up, there's a limit to our patience. Shaoji's words carried a commanding tone. Chapter 922. Super greedy. The matter had just ended, and now the Shao family was knocking on his door again. Peng Zhan turned and went into his office break room, and the Shao family didn't follow him in. They just stood there, smiling coldly. In the break room, Peng Zhan dialed his daughter's number, but hung it up after some thought. She was probably at school at this time, so he called Lin Yi directly. Uncle Chu. Lin Yi was at Xuemin's house with Kong Xiaobo and Fatty Lai. He had some things to take care of before he left. I want to ask you about something. It's about Yao Yao and a person called Go Huli. Peng Zhan said. Oh. Go Huli. Lin Yi paused, remembering this person. He told Peng Zhan about what happened, but, it's been a while, why are you asking about this all of a sudden, Uncle Chu? Go Huli, the wife of the Shao family's young master, Shao Ji. Now, they're here. Peng Zhan sighed. According to Lin Yi, although Yao Yao and Shu were at fault in the beginning, it was just a small dispute. They only wet Go Huli's clothes, and after Yao Yao and Shu apologized and asked for compensation, Go Huli was being unreasonable, but now, the Shao family was using this as an excuse to say that Yao Yao was the one who insulted Go Huli. It seemed that the Shao family didn't come with good intentions. Oh. Lin Yi paused. They're from Yanjing's Shao family? They're here? Lin Yi didn't think that the enemy would come this soon. Meng Yao and Go Huli's dispute had been going on for a while, but the Shao family hadn't made a move yet. They just had to come when Faubert was injured, and he didn't have any strength left. There had to be a conspiracy behind this. However, Lin Yi was powerless. He had only met the two juniors of the Shao family once, and he didn't have any advantage in terms of strength. It's nothing. I can still handle it. I just want to verify it with you. Don't worry. Peng Zhan sighed, thanking his lucky stars that Wei Zhizuan had arrived. Otherwise, the Shao family would have eaten him up for sure. Hanging up the call with Lin Yi, Peng Zhan turned around and walked out of the lounge. He looked at the Shao family brothers, then at the old man beside them, and his eyes narrowed. Peng Zhan hadn't noticed this person before, but upon closer inspection, he realized that there was a thick killing intent emanating from him. Peng Zhan might be a normal person, but facing a master like this still gave him the chills. Could he be the legendary guardian of the Shao family, Uncle Pai? If it was really him, then the Shao family must have some ulterior motive for coming here this time. Mr. Xiao, I've already made the phone call, but this matter doesn't seem to be the fault of my daughter alone, does it? Peng Zhan said, neither servile nor overbearing. If we were to say something wrong, it would be that your wife's attitude was a little impatient. Fuck you. What did you say? Xiao Ji couldn't help but curse at Peng Zhan's words. We, the Xiao family, don't need you to teach us what to do. Before the old man of the Xiao family had passed away, Xiao Ji had been a good-for-nothing hedonistic young master. He had spent his days fighting and mingling with other hedonistic young masters, causing trouble everywhere he went. But at that time, the Xiao family was at its peak, so it didn't matter. These few years, Xiao Ji had toned down a little, but his bad temper and good-for-nothing personality hadn't changed. Peng Zhan's nonsensical words pissed him off. Peng Zhan didn't expect Xiao Ji to be this uncultured, cursing at the slightest disagreement. How was this a meeting between people of status? Mr. Xiao, what's the meaning of this? Peng Zhan took a deep breath. You're here to cause trouble? So what if I am? I'm not afraid to tell you that I'm here to get back at my wife. Xiao Ji humphed coldly as he kicked the sofa in the office. You dare bully the Xiao family? I think you're tired of living, aren't you? My Xiao family is still a noble house, no matter how weak we are. Who do you think you are, Peng Zhan? Wei Zhizuan, on the other hand, was sitting on the side, enjoying the show. Since Peng Zhan didn't ask him to make a move, he was more than happy to watch the show. Only when the situation became more and more dangerous would he be able to make a move and show his power. Xiao Ji, are you here to cause trouble? What do you want? Just say it. Peng Zhan didn't believe that Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben were just cursing and smashing things. There had to be some other purpose. Alright, big bro, calm down first. Let me talk to Mr. Chu. Xiao Ben was very satisfied with his brother's actions. He'd put Peng Zhan in his place first, and the following conditions would be easier to negotiate. So Xiao Ben pretended to persuade Xiao Ji first before continuing. I believe that Mr. Chu is a smart man, and will definitely compensate our Xiao family. Am I right, Mr. Chu? Humph. Xiao Ji humphed coldly as he sat on the sofa, not saying another word. Just say what you want, won't you? Peng Zhan, of course, knew what the Xiao family brothers were here for. They were just using this as an excuse to ask for some benefits. Good. Xiao Ben looked at Peng Zhan and nodded. Our Xiao family is a noble house, and even if we're a little down and out right now, the Xiao family isn't someone you can just humiliate. If Mr. Chu doesn't pay a price, won't everyone start humiliating our Xiao family? What price do you want? Peng Zhan asked, suppressing the anger in his heart. It had been so long, and the Xiaos had only just come to their doorstep, and the timing was quite coincidental, coming only when Li Fu and Lin Yi were injured. Peng Zhan couldn't help but suspect that they'd come after receiving the news. We won't ask for much, Xiao family is here to do business, after all. How about this, Mr. Chu, why don't you just give us the Peng Zhan Mall and Peng Zhan Hotel to Xiao family, and give us 200 million as a starting capital, and we'll call it quits. Xiao Ben said straightforwardly. Plus, he didn't want to pay up at all. Seeing Peng Zhan's angry face, his greed grew. Chapter 923. This is your helper? Greedy? You bullied our Xiao family, it's good enough that Peng Zhan Industries didn't go bankrupt. Xiao Ji interrupted, back in the days when our Xiao family was at its peak, if you messed with our Xiao family, we would have taken down your entire Peng Zhan Industries. One word from Xiao family, and no one would dare to do business with you. Huh, Xiao Ji, you said it yourself, Xiao family isn't what it used to be. There's no need for us to talk about this anymore, please leave, Peng Zhan said faintly. Peng Zhan said faintly. Since House Xiao had such a big appetite, he'd have to continue being enemies with them. Just wait and see. Peng Zhan thought that although Xiao family was a big family, they were new to Songshan, and Peng Zhan Industries might not lose to them. Peng Zhan, don't fucking refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit. Xiao Ji slapped his thigh, what are you pretending for? Our Shao family may not be what it used to be, but how much better can you be? Do you still think you're the Pengzhan from a while ago? Do you know why we came to you now? Do you know why? Pengzhan frowned, his heart skipping a beat. It seemed like he was right. But this Shao Ji was too arrogant. Your driver, Li Fu, was he crippled? He still hasn't woken up yet, right? That Lin Yi, he's injured too, isn't he? He lost all his strength, right? Shao Ji continued, we didn't come to you before because we were worried, but now that we're here, we're sure that we'll take you down. If you know what's good for you, you'd better pay up or we'll bring you more excitement. So you've planned this all along. Pengzhan's face was green with anger. The Shao family brothers were here to take advantage of him. So what? Pengzhan, Earth isn't safe right now, you and your daughter need to be careful, don't die on the streets. Otherwise, you won't be alive to spend your money. Shao Ji said coldly, there are too many unsolved cases these days. Mr. Wei, see the guest out. Chu Pengzhan glanced at Wei Zhizun, who was sitting on the sofa. Fortunately, he was prepared. Otherwise, the Shao family would definitely eat him alive. Wei Zhizun stood up in a very arrogant manner. If the background music was added, this scene would often be the scene of an expert appearing in a TV drama. You three ignorant children, hurry up and scram for this way. If you dare cause trouble here again, I'll take your lives. Wei Zhizun waved his hand arrogantly and looked at the Shao family brothers and Uncle Pai with disdain. Wei Zhizun's sudden appearance stunned the Shao family brothers. They hadn't noticed Wei Zhizun before, nor did they think he was an expert. What the hell are you? Shao Ji looked at Wei Zhizun and asked with disdain. A mystic. If you don't get lost, I'll send you to the Western Paradise. Wei Zhizun arrogantly looked at Shao Ji and spoke with contempt. Ha! Pengzhan, I was wondering why you were so cocky. So you got a new helper? Shao Ji looked at Wei Zhizun and started laughing, but it's funny, how come I've never heard of a mystic before? Uncle Pai, have you? No, I've never heard of a mystic before. Uncle Pai said faintly. Ignorant child, how dare you make fun of me? Ah, I'll kill you. Wei Zhizun was enraged at being ignored like this. Uncle Pai, shut him up. Xiao Ben looked at Wei Zhizun and said to Uncle Pai. Yes, young master. Uncle Pai moved abruptly, reaching out to slap Wei Zhizun. Wei Zhizun was in the midst of his rage when his body was hit, and his voice stopped abruptly. In an instant, his eyes bulged out and he let out a blood-curdling scream. With a whoosh, he was sent flying and crashed heavily into the wall. He spat out a mouthful of blood and twitched twice on the ground. It was obvious that he had suffered serious internal injuries, just a mystic early-phase physical practitioner, and just broke through to mystic not too long ago. What a mystic supreme, what a frog in a well. Uncle Pai shook his head in disdain. I thought there was a new level of mystic. How lame, is this your helper? Which garbage station did you pick him out from? Mystic mid-phase? Wei Zhizun looked at Uncle Pai in disbelief. He didn't expect Uncle Pai to be a mystic mid-phase, 2 whole levels higher than him. Wei Zhizun didn't think that the other party would have a master, and he'd wanted to show off in front of Pengzhan, making him feel that the 500,000 he'd spent was worth it. He didn't think that he'd be killed in one move. In actuality, the 200,000 he'd promised wasn't all for the company, it was only a portion of it, and the majority of it was still for Wei Zhizun. But raising the price was a common trick of these masters, and Wei Zhizun had even thought of helping Pengzhan take care of these guys and then asking for a reward or something. But he was gravely mistaken. The other party's strength was far beyond what he'd imagined. Even if he hadn't been careless, he wouldn't have been a match for a mystic mid-phase physical practitioner, and now he'd been hit by a palm because of his carelessness. Wei Zhizun felt as if his organs had been displaced. It was evident that he'd been crippled. Even if he'd recovered, his kung fu wouldn't be able to recover to his current level. This life was over for him. Wei Zhizun felt sorrowful, he regretted taking this job. It was all his fault for being greedy and careless. However, who could they blame? Not only would he not get a single cent, but he'd also have to leave with his tail between his legs. Peng Zhan, this is a warning for you. Xiao Ji was overjoyed as he watched Faubert injure Peng Zhan's new master with just one palm. He pointed at Peng Zhan and said arrogantly, I've already given you the terms, I hope you don't do anything stupid that will kill you. I'll give you 1 day to think about it, otherwise, you'll die a horrible death. Chapter 924. Master Bing's heart Wei Jizuan was Peng Zhan's only hope, but now that he was heavily injured, what else could he do? Peng Zhan really didn't know what to do. He felt a deep sense of powerlessness, a sense of desperation. There was no way he could fight back against the Xiao family's naked threat. Peng Zhan didn't doubt that the Xiao family would do something extreme if he didn't agree to their request. After all, the masters around them didn't leave any evidence behind, and even if they killed his daughter, Peng Zhan wouldn't be able to do anything about it. Mr. Wei, are you alright? Do you need me to send you to the hospital? Peng Zhan turned to Wei Jizuan, hoping that this guy didn't die in his office. Peng Zhan was a little annoyed. He'd been bragging about how strong he was, but it turned out that he was so weak. He'd contacted a top security company, and this Wei Jizuan was the strongest of them all, but he couldn't even take one hit from the enemy. No need, I'll be leaving first. Wei Jizuan didn't have the face to stay here any longer. He was heavily injured, but walking wasn't a problem. His face reddened as he quickly left Peng Zhan's office, looking for a place to heal himself. Peng Zhan sighed helplessly. Peng Zhan was a man of his word in Peng Zhan Industries, but there wasn't anyone around him he could talk to. Li Fu was heavily injured, and Lin Yi had lost his strength. Peng Zhan didn't want to tell Lin Yi about this, and Lin Yi would only worry if he did. There was nothing he could do about it. Peng Zhan gritted his teeth. It seemed like he'd have to take responsibility for this. He felt like he was in trouble both internally and externally. The Xiao family was simply too overbearing and arrogant. It was daylight robbery. But even so, Peng Zhan didn't have a solution. Xiao Ji, Xiao Ben, and Uncle Pai left the Peng Zhan skyscraper together, feeling very refreshed. Peng Zhan really was as the rumors said, with the two masters by his side crippled. Why else would he have found this Wei Jizuan instead? But this Jizuan Wei was too useless, and Uncle Pai slapped him to the ground with a single palm. Brother, do you think Peng Zhan will give in? Aren't our conditions a little too harsh? After Xiao Ji got in the car, he asked worriedly, didn't we agree at home that we only want 200 million? But we want Peng Zhan Commercial Building and Peng Zhan Business Hotel. Don't you think he'll do something desperate? Isn't this the same as asking for a sky-high price and selling it on the spot? Xiao Ben smiled, we have to get those two industries. As for the 200 million, I'm guessing that Peng Zhan won't be able to come up with that. It'd be good if he could get 50 million when the time comes, and that'll give him some room to bargain. But if he's stupid enough to give us money, we'll gladly accept it. Ha, you're really thoughtful, brother. That's right, we're the stronger party, and we're asking for a sky-high price. Peng Zhan can bargain with us when the time comes, and if he doesn't, we'll be making a huge profit. Xiao Ji nodded happily after understanding Xiao Ben's intentions. Bro, since we've successfully coerced Peng Zhan, you should at least tell Master Bin about this. After all, he's the one who provided us with the information. It wouldn't be good if we didn't report the results to him, would it? Xiao Ben suggested after Xiao Ji had calmed down. Of course. Xiao Ji listened to Xiao Ben's suggestion and agreed, you're really thoughtful, brother. We can't afford to offend Master Bing. Our Xiao family needs to have a good relationship with Master Bing if we want to do business in Songshan in the future. With that, Xiao Ji quickly took out his phone and called Xiao Qibing. Qibing heard from Sihua's informant that the Xiao family brothers had gone to cause trouble for Peng Zhan. He, too, was looking forward to the news from the Xiao family brothers. Qibing and Sihua were much more cautious this time. They'd sent someone to test Lin Yi's strength, confirming that his strength had dropped drastically, but with the precedent of Uncle Zhu's quick recovery, Qibing and Sihua were afraid that Lin Yi was pretending to be weak, waiting for the enemy to take the bait. So they didn't make a move on Pengzhan immediately after receiving the news. Instead, they sent the Shao family to test the waters. Qibing quickly picked up the call when he saw the Shao family call. Hello? I'm Qibing. Master Bing, I'm Shao Ji. Shao Ji was a generation older than Qibing, but because of Qibing's background, he had to be respectful in front of him. Oh, it's Uncle Shao. What's up? Qibing pretended not to know. Master Bin, I'm calling to thank you. Thank you for the information you gave us. We went to cause trouble for Pengzhan. Shao Ji smiled. Now that we've succeeded, I'm calling to tell you the good news. Oh? You succeeded? Qibing's heart skipped a beat. Did that mean that Lin Yi was really done for? From the looks of it, he could also move a little. But on the surface, he didn't show it. Is that so? Didn't Pengzhan resist? Resist? How could he resist? How could he resist? That Li Fu and Lin Yi were both done for, but Pengzhan wasn't an idiot. He hired another mystic class master from some bodyguard company, thinking that he had something to rely on. He wanted to show off in front of us, but Uncle Pai crippled him with just one move. Pengzhan was scared out of his wits. Haha. Shao Ji excitedly recounted the events that had transpired. Oh. He found another master. Qibing thought to himself. Luckily, he didn't act rashly. Pengzhan's master wasn't that good, and the Shao family took advantage of him. Otherwise, the Shao family would be in trouble. It seemed like his information network wasn't that smooth after all. Yeah, I don't know where all these masters came from. Golden class masters are rare enough in this world, and mystic class masters are only found in noble houses. I didn't think that Pengzhan would be able to hire a mystic class master as well. Speaking of this, Shao Ji was a little worried. Master Bing, do you think he will hire more powerful helpers? Shao Ji couldn't be blamed for worrying. He was from a noble house, but he wasn't from a martial arts house. He didn't know as much about masters as Qibing. Chapter 925. A piece of the pie, you don't have to worry about that. I don't think I need to tell you what the power behind me is, so I have a say in this matter. Qibing comforted him. Indeed, in the common world, golden class masters are rare existence, there might not even be a few in a city. Only the noble houses have mystic class masters. However, other than the noble houses, there are also mercenary organizations with masters in their hands. It's just that these people are only there for the sake of benefit, they wouldn't appear without benefits. It's like a mercenary organization. As far as I know, the mercenary organizations in the country are strictly supervised by the hidden noble houses. The strongest among them are only mystic early phase. Once they break through to the late phase or mid phase, they'll be recruited by the hidden noble houses. That way, they'll have the chance to break through to Earth class, who would stay in a mercenary organization. Oh, is that so? Then what if Pengzhan hired someone from abroad? Shao Ji thought of the foreign mercenary organizations after hearing that there weren't any masters in the country. Do you think Pengzhan has that kind of ability? If he did, his company would have been one of the top 500 companies in the world long ago, not just in the country. Qibing said with disdain. Don't worry, if there were stronger masters he could hire, would he settle for the second best and hire a piece of trash for you to torture? That's true. Shao Ji finally breathed out in relief and nodded. Thank you for your explanation, Master Bing. Now that you mention it, I'm tempted as well. I want to get some money too. Right, what did you guys extort from Pengzhan? Qibing asked. Shao Ji panicked when he heard that Qibing wanted to get some money too. He hadn't even succeeded yet, and now Qibing wanted to get some money too. Wasn't that just asking for a share of the pie? But he didn't dare say anything to Qibing. He said gloomily, we asked him for Pengzhan Commercial Building and Pengzhan Business Hotel, and 200 million as startup capital. Oh, I see. Qibing was envious. It seemed like he should make his move as soon as possible, or else Pengzhan Industries would be taken away by others. When was he going to do it if not now? And so, Qibing wasn't in the mood to chat with Xiao Ji anymore. After a few words, he hung up. Xiao Ji was panicking as well. He hung up the call and started discussing with Xiao Ben. Brother, Zhao Qibing seems to be interested too. Do you think we'd be able to get so much money if he were to join in as well? This isn't beneficial to our Xiao family. Hee, big brother, you're worrying too much. Xiao Ben, on the other hand, waved his hand casually. The situation now is that the more enemies Pengzhan has, the better it'll be for us. It's best if there are a few more. Oh. Why is that? Xiao Ji's brain wasn't as good as Xiao Ben's, and he couldn't wrap his head around it. Think about it, so many enemies are going after Pengzhan. Pengzhan is the one who's at his wit's end. He has no other choice but to cut his own flesh. Even if he has the ability to get more helpers, can his helpers fight against so many people? Xiao Ben explained. Pengzhan might still think he's lucky if we're the only ones looking for trouble, thinking that he might be able to avoid it. I see. Xiao Ji nodded. Brother, you're the smartest one of all. This way, our Xiao family will get less profit, but it'll be a lot more stable. That's right. So, we don't have to do anything right now. We'll just wait for Master Bing to do what he wants, and when Pengzhan is in trouble, we'll go after him. I don't believe he won't give in. Xiao Ben said. Qibing hung up and quickly called Sihua, Gubang, and Fabai over. He was going to make a move on Pengzhan Industries, and he had to do it as soon as possible. It'd be a huge loss if he didn't get there in time, and the profits would be taken away by others. Right now, Qibing had already treated Pengzhan's assets as his own, and he was afraid that someone else would take it from him. Old Jean, old Zhong, you guys know Pengzhan Industries very well. What excuse do you think we should use to ask for money from Pengzhan? Qibing asked straightforwardly. These were his trusted subordinates, and he didn't need to hide anything. If Xiao family is using Xiao Ji's wife as an excuse to ask for money, then what about us? At Qibing's level, it was obvious that he was going to take things by force, but he still needed a reason to avoid being criticized. Naturally, Qibing had to find a suitable reason to make a move. Otherwise, wouldn't it be daylight robbery? That was something that Lin Yi would do. Qibing didn't have the guts to do that. Every level had its own rules, and no one would break them. Otherwise, it'd be a complete mess. But Lin Yi didn't belong to the upper class or even the noble houses, so he always did things according to his own rules. He didn't play by the rules at all, and this was why Zhao Qibing couldn't gain any advantage from him. Now that he finally had a chance to teach Pengzhan a lesson, how could he let it go? Pengzhan Industries' real estate company was something that Qibing had always wanted. If it wasn't for Lin Yi, the company would have been under his name by now. The few conflicts we had were all with Lin Yi, so it'd be a bit unreasonable to use Lin Yi as an excuse. Sihua said. Xiao family's reason is a bit ridiculous, but it's true that Meng Yao offended Xiao family's Go Huli. I know that. Why would I discuss this with you guys if I could just go ask for money? Qibing glared at Sihua and said impatiently, let's brainstorm, everyone. I'm afraid that more of Pengzhan's enemies will come after us if the news gets out. If we're late, we won't be able to get as much as we want. Master Bing, I have a good idea. Gubang said after some thought. But it's a bit like stealing. It's fine if it's in the dark, as long as it's not daylight robbery, we won't break the rules. Qibing said. We just need a reason. Pengzhan's probably in a mess right now, and we'll go scare him a little. There's no way he won't give in. Chapter 926. Chapter 925, House U-O. You're saying that we should forge a transfer agreement and have Pengzhan transfer the company to us, then force him to pay up? Qibing's eyes lit up. Yes, even if he knows that it's fake, he wouldn't dare offend us under such circumstances. We can threaten him that we'll kill his daughter if he dares to make a big deal out of this. I'm sure he won't resist. Gubang nodded fiercely. He hated Pengzhan to the core, and now that there was a chance for revenge, he jumped out without hesitation. What do you guys think? Qibing nodded as he looked at Sihua and Fabai. Master Bing, that's a good idea. We'll have Yao Wang come along and scare Pengzhan. I don't think he'll go back on his word. Sihua nodded. All right, it's decided then. Qibing laughed and sent Gubang off to forge the documents. Yanjing, House Yu's house. Yu Shuixing and Yu Bide sat side by side, while Yu Feng sat beside them. Yu Kuan had woken up by now, and while he was grieving, he told Shuixing and Bide about how he got injured. Although it was Yu Kuan's fault for causing trouble for Lin Yi without a thorough investigation, House Yu wouldn't admit to it even if they felt that they were in the wrong. They blamed everything on Lin Yi. Second brother, you have to help Kuan. Now that we know that it was Lin Yi who did this, we'll be looked down upon by the other houses if we don't do anything. Bide's heart was filled with hatred. Lin Yi had destroyed his son, destroyed his hope. Bide's strength was basically stuck at his current level for the rest of his life, and he had placed all his hopes on his son. He didn't think that his son would become a cripple. How could he take this lying down? According to what Kuan said, that Lin Yi is only a mystic early phase, killing him would be a piece of cake. Shuixing said. But what background does this Lin Yi have? He's already at the early phase of the mystic class at such a young age. That's rare even among the children of noble houses. Don't tell me he came out from some hidden house to train? Oh. Yu Bide listened to Yu Shuixing's analysis and was shocked. Before, he was only thinking about revenge and forgot about Lin Yi's background. Now that Yu Shuixing reminded him, he was worried. If Lin Yi really was from a hidden house, then House Yu would be stirring up a hornet's nest if they went after him. But little Kuan's revenge. Yu Bide sighed sadly. Lin Yi's background is just a guess. It hasn't been confirmed yet, so we can be patient. Shuixing said. Let's stick to our original plan and send Lin Feng to investigate Lin Yi's background. It's not too late to make a decision after we see what his background is. That's the only way. Yu Bide nodded unwillingly. If we can't touch Lin Yi, why don't we touch that Pengzhan? If it weren't for his daughter Meng Yao asking Lin Yi to kill Kuan, Kuan wouldn't have ended up like this. They couldn't touch Lin Yi for now, but Yu Bide still had some anger he hadn't vented yet. So, he shifted his hatred to Pengzhan and that little bitch Meng Yao. As far as he was concerned, Lin Yi was the murderer, but Meng Yao was the mastermind. He couldn't let her go. According to the current situation, Lin Yi is Pengzhan's bodyguard. He's in charge of protecting them. If we touch Pengzhan or Meng Yao, Lin Yi will definitely stand up and help them. We'll become enemies with Lin Yi, and that's not in line with our plan. Shuixing hesitated and shook his head. Before we figure out Lin Yi's background, we shouldn't make enemies with him. If we touch Pengzhan and Lin Yi really jumps out, House Yu's position will be in an awkward position. We'll be stuck in a dilemma. If we take a step forward, we'll lose House Yu's benefits, but if we take a step back, it'll be embarrassing. That's true. Man, I didn't think that it'd be so troublesome to touch a little Lin Yi. Yu Bide sighed. As they were talking, Yu Feng's phone rang. He glanced at the number and picked it up. Yu Shuixing and Yu Bide usually didn't pick up their phones during a meeting. They rarely brought their phones with them, so someone would call Yu Feng if there was an emergency. For Yu Feng to pick up the phone in the middle of a meeting, it must be someone from within House Yu. Hello? Haitian bro, what's up? Father and third uncle are in a meeting. Yu Feng said. He wouldn't have picked up the call if it wasn't from Yu Haitian, but Yu Haitian was in charge of House Yu's external business and information system. He must have something to say to Yu Feng at this time. It's like this, there's news from Songshan. Pengzhan's bodyguard, Li Fu, has been heavily injured, and we don't know if he's dead or alive. On the other hand, Lin Yi has lost all his strength, and Xiao family has gone to find trouble with Pengzhan. Zhao Qibing seems to be making a move as well. Haitian said. He was told to keep an eye on Lin Yi and related people in Songshan. Oh. What happened? Yufeng paused after hearing Haitian's words. Did something big happen in Songshan? This is what happened. Yu Haitian told Yufeng the details of how Jin Ingjun kidnapped Meng Yao. I understand, I'll report it to father and third uncle right now. Yufeng was overjoyed when he heard the news. This news solved all of House Yu's worries. Yufeng did not dare to waste any time. He immediately told his father and third uncle everything that Yu Haitian had said. This is a godsend. Shuixing's eyes brightened as he tapped on the tea table in front of him, thinking of a plan. Yeah, Lin Yi's kung fu is crippled now, it's the best time to deal with him. Yufeng nodded excitedly. Now that I'm there, I can kill Lin Yi without any pressure. Childish. Shuixing glared at his son. Although Lin Yi's kung fu is crippled, we still don't know if Lin Yi has any background. How can we act rashly? Chapter 927. Step by step. Sometimes, some things have bottoms. If you don't touch that bottom line, you won't see the results. Shuixing looked at his son, his tone serious. If Lin Yi is from a hidden house, then he's in the common world for training. Otherwise, do you think it's possible for an early phase mystic to be a follower of a rich merchant? If it were a 40 or 50-year-old man with no potential to break through, or a physical practitioner who's trained to the limit, it'd be possible for him to become a bodyguard for rich people. He's not even 20 yet, his future is limitless. Becoming a bodyguard? Do you believe me? Yeah, I wouldn't become a bodyguard no matter how much money you give me, unless it's training. Yufeng nodded after hearing his father's words, sighing. I still don't have enough experience, I don't understand this logic. But your third uncle and I, at our age, if we don't have any hope of breaking through, we might become bodyguards for some rich people when House Yu is in dire straits. Even so, we wouldn't let you be a bodyguard no matter what, because you're the hope of House Yu's future. Shuixing said. So, Lin Yi's predicament right now might be a test and trial from the power behind him. As the saying goes, when the heavens are about to bestow a great responsibility upon a man, they must first torture his will, tire his bones, starve his skin, empty his body, and mess up his actions. That's why we have to be patient and do what we can't do. This is also a form of training. Then father, what do you mean by a heaven-sent opportunity? Yufeng was a little puzzled. If his father didn't approve of making a move against Lin Yi, then why did he say that it was a heaven-sent opportunity? We can't touch Lin Yi, but we can touch Pengzhan. Shuixing smiled. Oh. Brother, didn't you say that if we touch Pengzhan, we'll become enemies with Lin Yi? Yu Bide was taken aback and couldn't help but ask. That's before Lin Yi's arts were crippled. If we touch Pengzhan, Lin Yi would definitely jump out. Shuixing said. But now, what's the point of jumping out when he's lost all his arts? That's true. But what if the power behind Lin Yi can't take it anymore and appears? Yu Bide asked. It doesn't matter if he shows up. We can find out more about Lin Yi. I was afraid that he wouldn't show up. Shuixing smiled, but even if the power behind Lin Yi were to help, they wouldn't be able to do anything to us. We need a reason for everything, and we're after Pengzhan, not Lin Yi. Since they're here, we'll just give them face and let them go. They won't have to take their anger out on House Yu. Besides, House Yu's background isn't something to be messed with. Brilliant. Truly brilliant. Yu Bide couldn't help but praise after hearing Shuixing's words. This way, no matter what the result is, House Yu won't be at a disadvantage. If the power behind Lin Yi doesn't show up, we can use this chance to punish House Chu and get some benefits out of them. It wouldn't be a wasted trip. On the other hand, if the power behind Lin Yi shows up, we'll be able to find out more about Lin Yi's background. That's right, that's what I mean. Shuixing said. Next, we just need to think about what we should propose to Pengzhan. House Jin's asking for too much already. If we, House Yu, don't ask for too much, we'd be wasting this opportunity. Father, I suggest that Pengzhan give up his shares to us, and send his daughter over to serve my cousin Yukuan. Yufeng suggested. Leave this to me. Your suggestion isn't bad, but it's best if you don't show yourself yet. You're our trump card, and we need you to deal with Lin Yi. Shuixing said. I'll leave this to you, Bide. Go with Yu Haitian and tell Pengzhan our intentions. Yes, second brother. Yu Bide nodded. He was filled with hatred towards Pengzhan, and this time, he had to teach them a lesson. Songshan, Pengzhan's office. 2 more uninvited guests. These 2 were Yao Wang and Sihua. Pengzhan's anger reached its peak as he looked at the agreement the 2 showed him. House Xiao had just left, and Zhao Qibing's men were already here. One wave after another, one wave after another. Looking at his signature on the agreement, Pengzhan felt a deep sense of helplessness. The signature was his, yes, but this agreement was definitely not signed by him. But it didn't matter anymore. Sihua was obviously here to take it by force. Pengzhan didn't believe that this was a coincidence. The Xiao family had just left, and now Zhao Qibing's men were here. This had been planned for a long time. Mr. Chu, you can't go back on the agreement you signed, can you? Sihua said faintly. When are you going to hand over the real estate company to us? It's written in the agreement that the properties you've developed before, as well as the rest, will be handed over to us. I didn't sign the agreement, you guys know very well. Pengzhan's face was dark. We all know why you're here. You've been plotting against my real estate company, and now you're here to rob me? You sure have a big appetite. You're wrong, Mr. Chu. I just want to take back what belongs to us. Sihua said faintly. Mr. Chu, don't do anything irrational. Aren't you worried that you'll push me too far by doing this? Pengzhan's anger had reached a certain level. He didn't expect these people to jump out so quickly after Lin Yi and Faubert fell. Push you too far? How did we push you? Sihua grinned leisurely. If you're unhappy, you can call the police. Right, Yao Wang? Yes, but you have to be careful in the future, Mr. Chu. I didn't manage to poison your daughter last time, but I might not be able to do it next time. Yao Wang said faintly. Lin Yi without qi, let's see how he'll be able to save her. It's you. Pengzhan's face froze as he looked at Yao Wang angrily. But Yao Wang didn't seem to care about Pengzhan at all. Chapter 928. Chapter 927, Warning, right, I forgot to tell you, other than being an expert in poisoning, I'm also a mystic class spiritual practitioner. Yao Wang said faintly as he looked at Pengzhan, his tone filled with warning. Give me an answer in 2 days. Sihua and Yao Wang stood up and walked out of the office, as if they had Pengzhan in their grasp. In fact, Sihua did indeed have Pengzhan in his grasp. From Pengzhan's attitude today, it was clear that he didn't dare say anything. This was completely different from the past. Last time, he came to Pengzhan's office after Lin Yi was injured, but Pengzhan was incomparably calm, sending him away with a few words. Although Lin Yi was injured, his strength was still there, so Pengzhan had something to rely on. But this time was different. Without Lin Yi's help, Pengzhan had become a fat sheep waiting to be slaughtered. Pengzhan sighed dejectedly as he watched the 2 leave. He was so useless, unable to fight back at all against the threats of these forces. Facing enemies that couldn't be dealt with using normal methods, Pengzhan felt a deep sense of helplessness. Of course, he knew that he was unlucky. There were so many billionaires out there, and none of them were targeted by these noble houses, but he had to be the one. Pengzhan finally understood that he was just a businessman. It was impossible for him to go against these powerful noble houses. Without a powerful trump card, he wouldn't be able to go against them. It seemed that he wasn't a qualified businessman yet. As a businessman, he had to know when to give and when to give and when to give and when to give and when to others. Pengzhan had taken over Pengzhan Industries from his father's hands, and it had been a smooth sailing without much trouble. Until Jean Gubang wanted to take over the company, and Peng Zhan had gone down the wrong path. If it wasn't for Lin Yi, Peng Zhan's best option would have been to compromise with Xihua and split the real estate company, selling it to Zhao Qibing at a low price to protect his own company. Sometimes, compromising was necessary when doing business. If you didn't know when to give and when to offend people you shouldn't have offended, you'd be doomed. But Peng Zhan had chosen to let Lin Yi join him forcefully, and this was the beginning of the clash with Zhao Qibing. If Lin Yi could stay by Peng Zhan's side, naturally, he would be able to protect Peng Zhan Industries, but if something were to happen to Lin Yi, it would attract Qibing's retaliation. Peng Zhan finally understood this reason. He seemed to be very strong before, but it wasn't wise at all. At Xuemin's house, Lin Yi couldn't help but shake his head after ending the call with Peng Zhan. House Zhao's sudden appearance had caught him off guard, but there was nothing he could do about it. No matter what, he was still employed by Peng Zhan before he left, and he could only place his hopes on the new master Peng Zhan had hired. "Boss, what's wrong? Did you run into some trouble?" Fatty Lai saw Lin Yi frowning, as if he had run into some kind of trouble. "It's nothing." Lin Yi smiled bitterly. He couldn't even protect himself now. What else could he do? Phew. Lin Yi took a deep breath. Today, everything his enemies had done to him, he'd return it back double in the future. "Grandpa Guan, Fatty Lai, I'm leaving. This time, I'm here to say goodbye." Lin Yi suppressed the thoughts of revenge in his heart and said calmly to the two before turning to Kang Xiaobo, "I'll leave Xiaobo in your care from now on." Boss, you're leaving? Why are you leaving?" Fatty Lai jumped up from the sofa. He thought that Lin Yi had called him over to discuss the new product launch next month, but he didn't expect Lin Yi to say goodbye. "Yeah, I'm injured, and I've lost all my strength. There are a lot of enemies here." Lin Yi briefly explained his situation to Guan Xuemin, Fatty Lai, and Kang Xiaobo. Guan Xian, on the other hand, was making tea for them. She just walked in with a tray when Lin Yi announced that he was leaving. She froze, dropping the tray in her hands onto the floor, shattering the teacups and spilling the tea all over the floor. "I'm sorry." Guan Xian realized that she'd lost her composure, and quickly bent down to pick up the broken pieces. She was extremely disappointed. Was Lin Yi leaving? Why was he leaving so soon? Between them, it hadn't even started, and it was already over? Guan Xian's mind was a complete blank, her heart a mess. Her tender hand was cut by the teacup shards on the ground, fresh blood gushing out. The pain brought Guan Xian back to her senses. Xian, are you okay? Why were you so careless?" Guan Xuemin saw that his granddaughter's hand was bleeding, and he asked nervously. "It's nothing, just a flesh wound. I accidentally touched the broken pieces," Guan Xian said, a little embarrassed. She bandaged other people's wounds every day, so she wasn't afraid of blood. She didn't mind that she was bleeding, and she just wanted to bandage it herself. "Fatty Lai, give her a bottle of injury medicine." "I saw that you brought a lot of samples today," Lin Yi said to Fatty Lai. "Yes, boss." Fatty Lai's face was full of sorrow at the thought of Lin Yi leaving, but the more he thought about it, the sadder he felt. Finally, he couldn't hold back his tears, and he started to cry. "Fatty Lai, you..." Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry at Fatty Lai's reaction. "Guan Xian's hand is cut, why are you crying?" "I'm sad, boss." "Are you really leaving?" Fatty Lai wiped his tears as he went to get the injury medicine for Guan Xian. He still had to listen to Lin Yi, and even if he was sad, he still had to get the medicine first. Fatty Lai thought that Lin Yi wanted to talk to him about the product launch next month, so he brought some samples of the injury medicine. Now it was time to put them to good use. "It's not like I won't come. I'm just going there to seek refuge, and I'll come back when I recover," Lin Yi said. "It won't affect your medical company." Chapter 929. Chapter 928, Guan Shuamin's suggestion. Kang Xiaobo was the first to know that Lin Yi was leaving. He had heard the news from Tang Yun. Tang Yun was the one who told Lu Xinwen and Xiaofan that she was going back to his hometown with Lin Yi. Naturally, Kang Xiaobo knew that Lin Yi was leaving. Although he appeared calm and resolute, he felt exceptionally sad in his heart. He hadn't known Lin Yi for long, but Lin Yi treated him as a brother and a friend. And Kang Xiaobo also treated Lin Yi as his boss. The changes that Lin Yi brought to him were too big. In just a month, he not only gained confidence, but he also had his own career. This was unimaginable in the past. However, no matter how much he didn't want to leave Lin Yi, he couldn't persuade him to stay. Tang Yun had tried to persuade him to stay, but in the end, she still left with Lin Yi. Kang Xiaobo even had the urge to bring Xiaofan to follow Lin Yi, but he suppressed the thought rationally. It wasn't loyalty, it was nonsense. Lin Yi was going back to seek refuge and recover his strength. What was he going to do? He might as well stay here and work hard to manage the company for Lin Yi. This was what he should be doing, and it was what Lin Yi was happy to see. Alright, stop crying. Lin Yi knew that Fatty Lai was a crybaby. It wasn't strange for him to wipe his tears at the drop of a hat. Guan Shuamin, who had been silent all this time, suddenly opened his mouth. Actually, if you don't want to leave, I have an idea. Don't want to leave? What idea? Lin Yi was startled as he looked at Guan Shuamin. What do you think of Xin Xin? Guan Shuamin pondered for a while and suddenly asked. Quack. Lin Yi's eyes went wide at the words. Lin Yi had been hesitant when Peng Zhan told him this, but now that Shuamin was saying the same thing, how could Lin Yi not know what he was getting at? Was Guan Shuamin looking for a grandson-in-law as well? Sweat, it seems like I'm very popular. Grandpa Guan, why are you asking this all of a sudden? But Lin Yi pretended like he didn't understand. Guan Xian's pretty, she's a good cook. Guan Xian, who was applying medicine to herself, tensed up when she heard her grandpa's words. How could she not know what her grandpa was thinking? Her grandfather wanted to betroth her to Lin Yi. Guan Xian was well aware of that. It was just that Lin Yi already had a girlfriend, so Guan Xian wasn't too clear about it. Hearing her grandpa talk to Lin Yi in such a serious manner today, Guan Xian's heart skipped a beat. Guan Xian didn't have high hopes, but she felt that quietly liking someone was also a very happy thing. She didn't have to go for it, as long as she could be by his side and watch him, but even so, Guan Xian really wanted to know what Lin Yi's attitude towards her was. And so, Guan Xian pretended to apply medicine, but her ears perked up as she listened to Lin Yi's answer. When she heard Lin Yi's evaluation of her, her heart felt as sweet as honey. Wasn't Lin Yi talking about the best candidate for a good wife and mother? Guan Xian's breathing quickened, and her face reddened. Did he like her? If that's the case, then how about I betroth her to you? Guan Shuamin laughed. If you become my grandson-in-law, then you'll be my disciple in medicine. Although you don't need me to teach you, with my name, your enemies won't bother you anymore. I'm just a scholar, but the noble houses and some of the nobles in Yanjing will still give me some face. With me here, no one will dare to touch you. Guan Shuamin wasn't boasting. Lin Yi naturally knew that if he agreed, Zhao Qibing wouldn't dare to openly make an enemy out of Guan Shuamin, no matter how angry he would be. After all, Guan Shuamin had the support of many noble houses and nobles. Guan Shuamin was a famous medical expert in the country, and many people had been treated by him. It could be said that Guan Shuamin's network was very wide. Lin Yi didn't know how to answer at that moment. After all, Guan Xian was sitting right next to him. If Lin Yi rejected directly, it would definitely hurt Guan Xian's feelings, and that wasn't something Lin Yi wanted to see. However, Lin Yi had a good impression of Guan Xian, but it wasn't to the point where he wanted to protect her in the Guan house. I'll go make some tea, you guys talk. Guan Xian didn't think that her grandfather would say it out so directly, and in front of her at that. How could she say it out loud? And so, Guan Xian subconsciously wanted to hide. She found an excuse, stood up, and stumbled to the kitchen. Lin Yi was about to tactfully answer Guan Xuemin's suggestion when the door of the villa opened. Guan Xiaoxiang walked in with a dark face, and said unhappily, "Dad, what are you thinking? How can you just marry Xian to someone? And in a dangerous situation? Plus, Xian is already married to someone else. Even if you want to break off the engagement, you should talk to the person first. Why are you acting on your own now?" Guan Xiaoxiang had been hiding in front of the villa for a long time, and when he heard that his father was going to marry his daughter to this young man named Lin Yi, he couldn't take it anymore. He pushed the door open and rushed in. Not to mention that Guan Xiaoxiang didn't have a good impression of Lin Yi to begin with, and now that Lin Yi had gotten himself into trouble outside and wanted to use this method to escape, how could he agree to it? What if Guan Xian was in danger? "Guan Xiaoxiang, do you have any manners? Can't you see I'm in the middle of a discussion? Get out, get out." Guan Xuemin didn't expect his son to barge in at this time and say such things that he couldn't get out of the situation. Guan Xuemin's temper flared up. He usually didn't get angry, but now he was angry. He pointed at Guan Xiaoxiang and wanted to kick him out. "I can leave. But I'm afraid that you'll be tricked." "It's fine if your reputation is tricked, but I don't want my daughter to be dragged into this." Guan Xiaoxiang humphed and pulled Guan Xian out. Guan Xian didn't know what to do. She didn't think that her father and grandfather would clash so fiercely. She didn't know what to say. "Grandpa Guan, I'll be leaving first. Anyway, I'll leave the medical company to you and Fatty Lai." Lin Yi shrugged self-deprecatingly as he stood up. He didn't need to say anything else under these circumstances, and there was no way he could get involved in Xuemin's family conflict. He might as well take his leave. Chapter 930. Another uninvited guest. Fu. Lin Yi breathed out in relief after exiting Xuemin's villa. Guan Xiaoxiang's sudden intrusion had solved a problem for Lin Yi. Otherwise, Lin Yi wouldn't know how to answer him. Although Lin Yi was reluctant to part with Guan Xian, this girl had left a deep impression in Lin Yi's heart. Lin Yi couldn't stay. He had to find a way to recover his strength. Xuemin's words were right, he may have lost his strength, but he still had his medical skills. It was possible for him to gain some status, but he still believed that medical skills were only a support. Only strength was the capital. What Peng Zhan didn't expect was that two uninvited guests came to the company that evening just as he was about to get off work. Most of the employees had left after work, but Peng Zhan didn't leave. He gritted his teeth and made a difficult decision. He would satisfy the Shao family's and Zhao Qibing's requests. He couldn't satisfy the Shao family's requests completely, but he could give them the Peng Zhan Business Building and Peng Zhan Business Hotel. As for the 200 million, Peng Zhan wasn't prepared to give it to them. He was a smart businessman, and from the Shao family's tone, he could tell that the 200 million was negotiable. Zhao Qibing, on the other hand, couldn't bargain with him. He asked for a branch company, and it was one of the most valuable branch companies. The real estate company itself wasn't worth much, but the few pieces of land in the company's hands were priceless. There was no lack of luxurious villas in the last piece of land, and one of them was worth tens of millions. But Peng Zhan knew that this was what they wanted, and he had to give it to them. Peng Zhan's only hope was that after he satisfied the Shao family and Zhao Qibing, the Shao family and Zhao Qibing wouldn't bother him anymore. Peng Zhan Industries didn't have much assets left, but it was enough to maintain its operations. But just as Peng Zhan made the decision, the door to his office was pushed open. Peng Zhan was already used to people barging in today, from Wei Zhizuan to the Shao family, to Cihua and Yao Wang, and now two more. Yu Haitian. Peng Zhan recognized one of them, Yu Haitian. He knew that he was the person in charge of House Yu's business in Yanjing, but he didn't know the middle-aged man beside him. Not bad, Chairman Chu. You actually recognize me. Yu Haitian laughed, but his expression was one of arrogance. He may be a businessman, but managing the business for House Yu was something Peng Zhan couldn't compare to. Peng Zhan's face darkened. Those who came didn't have good intentions, and now that House Yu suddenly barged in, Peng Zhan had a bad feeling. Could it be that they were here for trouble as well? Peng Zhan couldn't be blamed for guessing this way. After all, there were two groups of people here today, and back in the villa, Lin Yi had clashed with House Yu's Yukuan because of General Wei Wu, even injuring him. House Yu's purpose for coming here was self-evident. I didn't know that Mr. Yu was here. Peng Zhan didn't finish before the middle-aged man beside Yu Haitian interrupted him. You're Peng Zhan? How dare you? You gave birth to a lowly daughter who actually let someone injure my son. Yu Bide was here for trouble, and with the pain he felt for his son, he couldn't take it anymore. He exploded the moment he saw Peng Zhan. If it weren't for House Yu's benefit, Yu Bide would have slapped Peng Zhan to death, and then go after his daughter and Lin Yi. Peng Zhan's heart tightened. As expected, they were here for trouble, and it was for that matter. That's right, I'm Peng Zhan. I wonder if Mr. Yu has anything to teach me? Peng Zhan smiled bitterly, knowing that he couldn't escape today. Teach me? Humph. My son is crippled now, a cripple who can't even get up from his bed. What do you think I have to teach you? Yu Bide raged, even if I kill your entire family, it won't be enough to appease the anger in my heart. Third uncle, please calm down. We're honest businessmen, we can't kill each other. Yu Haitian smiled, plus, we're here to talk about compensation, Mr. Peng Zhan. Of course, if you can't compensate us, we can still kill their entire family. Anger. Peng Zhan was shaking with anger. Yu Haitian's words sounded nice, but it was full of threats. If he couldn't compensate them, he would kill his entire family? Wasn't this too much? However, facing the head of the 4 big and 5 small houses, House Yu, Peng Zhan didn't have any temper at all. Peng Zhan didn't doubt that House Yu's words were just to scare him. If House Yu killed him, it would be as easy as stepping on an ant. At most, if they investigated, there would be countless people who would take the blame. Yu Kuan was the one who trespassed, yet he blamed it on Peng Zhan when he got injured. Peng Zhan felt wronged. But, you can't reason with House Yu. With House Yu's current attitude, it was obvious that they were here to cause trouble. You tried to reason with them, but they acted like gangsters, and you didn't have any temper at all. That's true. Yu Bide nodded. Haitian, you should speak. Tell him our conditions. If he doesn't agree, I'll kill his entire family. Mr. Peng Zhan, my third uncle has a short temper, and Kuan is his only son, so please don't mind him. Haitian smiled. As long as you fulfill House Yu's conditions, he won't kill your entire family. Peng Zhan's face turned purple. He had never felt so wronged before, and he couldn't fight back at all. No matter what Haitian said, he couldn't do anything because they weren't on equal footing. He was the one being bullied. What conditions? Peng Zhan took a deep breath and asked. From the Xiao family, to Zhao Qibing, to House Yu, all of them were powerful existences, and none of them were people Peng Zhan could mess with. Peng Zhan didn't know if there would be more powerful people coming after him, but he couldn't deal with these people anymore. Let your daughter marry cousin Yu Kuan as a concubine, and your Peng Zhan Industries will be given to House Yu as a dowry. Yu Haitian stated House Yu's conditions word by word. What? Peng Zhan was shocked, and his face changed. House Yu's conditions exceeded the Xiao family and Zhao Qibing's. It was unbelievable. House Yu, you've gone too far. How could Peng Zhan agree to such conditions? Chapter 931. That's bullying you. Mr. Yu, don't you think that this condition is a bit too much? Peng Zhan asked in a low voice. Too much. In our dictionary, we've never heard of the word too much. Yu Bide laughed and slammed his palm on the stone tea table in front of him. Immediately, the hard natural stone shattered into pieces, and shards flew everywhere. Some of the shards flew directly onto Peng Zhan's face, scratching his skin. Peng Zhan stood there, his expression indescribably sad. House Chu's crisis had come, but he didn't have a plan to deal with it. The second condition, I can agree to it. I'll transfer all the shares to you, but the first condition. Yao Yao can't marry into your house you. Peng Zhan hesitated and finally made this decision. He could lose the company, but he couldn't lose Yao Yao. Marry into House Yu as a concubine? Yao Yao would suffer a lot in the future. How could he ruin her happiness? Besides, it was her choice who she married, why would he interfere? House Yu's words are like spilled water, how can we take them back? Haitian said coldly, Peng Zhan, you need to understand that we're not bargaining with you. We're giving you a choice. Either your whole family dies, or you marry your daughter and pay the price. Make your choice. Don't go too far. Peng Zhan gritted his teeth, his eyes shooting out flames of anger. He clenched his fists tightly, his body shaking uncontrollably. What do you mean by going too far? Yu Bide smiled, so what if we're bullying you? You can do whatever you want. You can find people, helpers, but let's see, who dares to cause trouble for House Yu? Don't forget the identity behind House Yu. The rules of the common world don't work on hidden houses. Yu Bide's words hinted that if Peng Zhan had any help, he should bring it out as soon as possible, stop hiding it. He wanted to lure out the power behind Lin Yi. Of course, if Lin Yi didn't come out to help, it meant that Lin Yi didn't have any power behind him, and House Yu would be able to do whatever they wanted. You guys. Peng Zhan felt a sharp pain in his chest. He held his chest as he breathed heavily. He didn't think that House Yu wouldn't even talk about conditions, asking for everything. One had to know that Peng Zhan had already compromised, but they were still pushing. By the way, isn't your daughter's bodyguard very powerful? It's fine if she doesn't want to marry, as long as she shows some of her strength, I'll let her go. Yu Bide was afraid that Peng Zhan wouldn't remember the strength behind Lin Yi, so he reminded him. Peng Zhan was speechless. He didn't understand what Yu Bide meant. He thought that Yu Bide knew that Lin Yi had lost all his strength and was purposely making sarcastic remarks. Otherwise, if Lin Yi hadn't lost his strength, how would they have dared to come to him together? Think about it yourself. Give us an answer in 2 days. You only have 2 days. With that, Yu Bide left Peng Zhan's office with Yu Haitian. Peng Zhan sat on the floor helplessly as he watched the two leave. He didn't know what to do, how to do it. House Chu was already in trouble, but who could he blame? Peng Zhan couldn't do anything even if he regretted it. If it weren't for his benevolence back then, causing Gubang to have thoughts of betrayal and join forces with Qibing, this wouldn't have happened today. The greed of humans was limitless, especially for people like Jin Gubang and Zhao Qibing. As long as their greed grew, it would grow endlessly. Although they gave up temporarily because of Lin Yi's appearance, once Lin Yi lost his strength, these greedy people would come to him again. And now, not only was he in bigger trouble, but he also made some enemies for Lin Yi. Otherwise, Lin Yi wouldn't have to go back to his hometown to hide. Although it wasn't entirely because of him that Lin Yi became enemies with these people, if it wasn't because of him, Lin Yi wouldn't even be able to get in touch with these people, let alone become enemies with them. These 2 days, Jiang Wen felt that his kidney was in pain, and he often peed blood. So he went to the hospital for a checkup, and the results shocked him. Young man, where did you get this kidney? It's rejecting it, and from the indicators, it doesn't match at all. We need to remove it as soon as possible. The doctor said to Jiang Wen with the report. Wah. Jiang Wen froze, that's impossible, this kidney is mine, I didn't get it changed. How can it reject it? Your own? That can't be right, there are obvious signs of a kidney transplant on your body. Plus, this kidney looks a little different from your other kidney. The doctor couldn't confirm that it was a dog kidney from the X-ray, but he felt that it was different from Jiang Wen's other kidney. After all, people's kidneys were different, and they weren't exactly the same. There were some who looked abnormal. That. Jiang Wen didn't know how to explain the reason behind it. It'd be troublesome if the doctor got suspicious and called the police. Young man, your kidney really doesn't match, and there are signs of rejection. If this goes on, you won't even be able to keep your life. It's better to remove it as soon as possible. The doctor said seriously. All right, I'll think about it. Jiang Wen frowned. It wasn't easy for him to get his kidney back. How could he remove it now? Wouldn't that be a waste? The first thing Jiang Wen did when he got out of the hospital was to call Pinliang. Zhong Pingliang was celebrating with Xiaofu at home. He made a shushing gesture to Xiaofu when he saw Jiang Wen's call and picked up. Hello? Wen bro, what's up? Pinliang bro, it's big. Jiang Wen said hurriedly, the kidney I got doesn't match. Doesn't match? How is that possible? Isn't that your original kidney? Zhong Pingliang pretended to be surprised, but he was laughing coldly in his heart. It'd be weird if it did match. Unless you were a dog, how could you possibly match a dog's kidney? Yeah, I don't know either. But I just went to the hospital for a checkup, and it really doesn't match. Jiang Wen said, plus, the doctor wants me to remove it. Chapter 932. Kidney failure again, it can't be wrong. I do feel uncomfortable, my kidney hurts, and I'm peeing blood. I went to a big hospital for a checkup. Jiang Wen said. Is that so? Could it be that the kidney has been in my body for a long time and was assimilated by me? That's why it rejected your body? Pinliang started bullshitting. He couldn't let Jiang Wen find out, otherwise Jiang Wen wouldn't let him go so easily. Oh. What you said is possible. Jiang Wen heard Pinliang's explanation and understood. Did you take a lot of medicine to prevent the kidney from rejecting your body? Yes, it must be the medicine that changed your kidney. Pinliang thought that Jiang Wen was quite smart. He didn't even know how to explain it, and he already found a reason for it. Is that so? Then what should I do? Right now, my kidneys are rejecting it. Jiang Wen wanted to cry but no tears came out. His kidney. How could it be assimilated by Pinliang just like that? What should he do? He didn't dare to go to a big hospital to find a solution. After all, this matter was a bit strange. If he told the truth, it was hard to guarantee that the doctor wouldn't be suspicious. If the doctor asked him why he transplanted the kidney to someone else and then transplanted it back, how would he explain it? Plus, he took a lot of medicine to prevent the kidney from rejecting it. If the doctor had another solution, he wouldn't have asked him to do the surgery. It wasn't like he couldn't afford it. Your situation is a little special, but I know a miracle doctor. You can go to him. He might have a solution. Pinliang said after some thought. Oh. Miracle doctor? Where? Tell me, I'll go to him. Jiang Wen said quickly. Go to Floating Cloud Bar and find Zhao Yaowang. He's Master Bing's family doctor, and his medical skills are quite good. He's very famous these days. Have you heard of him? Pinliang said. I've heard of him. The internet seems to be saying that Zhao Yaowang is really good. Jiang Wen nodded. I'll go to him now. Pinliang hung up the phone and cursed at the idiot before calling Master Bing. Hello? Qibing picked up the phone. He was having a great time listening to Cihua and Yao Wang's report. It seemed that Peng Zhan was at the end of his rope, and Lin Yi hadn't appeared yet. This meant that all the information was correct, and Lin Yi was crippled. He was now a cripple. Qibing was overjoyed at the thought of owning a real estate company. Master Bing, I'm Zhong Pingliang. Zhong Pingliang said. Oh, it's Liangzi. What's the matter? Under normal circumstances, Zhao Qibing wouldn't talk to Pinliang directly, but since he was in a good mood today, he didn't get mad at him. Pinliang, on the other hand, called because of the urgency of the matter. Master Bing, I've introduced a fat sheep to you. You just have to rip him off. Oh. Really? That's great. What illness? Qibing's mood brightened when he heard that someone was giving him money again. It's that Jiang Wen, the one who got a dog kidney. Pinliang said. He's showing signs of rejection now. Yao Wang will decide how to deal with it. No problem. Xiao Liangzi, I will remember this merit of yours. House Zhong will definitely benefit from it. Qibing said. It's my duty to do things for Master Bing. Why would I need any benefits? Pinliang said hypocritically. After Pinliang hung up the phone, Xiaofu gave him a thumbs up. Liang bro, you're brilliant. Brilliant. This Jiang Wen is dead because of you. What a ruthless move, killing without spilling blood. He should be thanking you for tricking him to death. Of course, that's the best way to treat your enemy. Pinliang laughed. I, Pinliang, am no longer the Pinliang I used to be. What we're doing now is smart, unlike before, where we only knew how to do things recklessly. Yeah, Liang bro, I've noticed that you're getting smarter and smarter. Xiaofu nodded. Heh, come, let's continue celebrating Lin Yi's death and Peng Zhan's fall. Pinliang raised his glass. Cheers. Xiaofu said happily. Right, Liang bro, you said that Lin Yi is like this now. Why don't we go and kick him a little and get some benefits back? What for? You idiot. Pinliang glared at Xiaofu. Why can't your IQ grow like mine? Why are you still at kindergarten level? Do you dare go to elementary school level? I haven't been through life and death. I don't have opportunities like you, Liang bro, Xiaofu laughed dryly. But, why can't we go? First of all, don't underestimate that Lin Yi. He's able to toy with us like this, even crippling me. He's no ordinary person. Pinliang humphed. That kid's the best at pretending to be weak. Did you forget how badly he played us? That's true. But this time, he lost his strength, right? Xiaofu nodded, then shook his head. Lost? How do you know? Pinliang said. How do you know if he's really gone or not? What if he's lying? It's not like he hasn't done it before. Master Bing thought that he lost his strength last time, but what happened? The skyscraper collapsed again. I see. Xiaofu thought about it. It made sense, but he still asked. But why hasn't Lin Yi done anything yet? I don't understand that kid. He's not like that idiot Jiang Wen who I can play with. Pinliang shook his head. In other words, I'm traumatized. Lin Yi's situation isn't something a normal person can understand. Oh. That's true. Xiaofu nodded. That's the first thing. Is there a second thing? The second thing is, look, the ones fighting for benefits are all people like Xiao family and Master Bing. My old man, as Master Bing's subordinate, would think that we're stealing food from a tiger's mouth? That wouldn't be good, would it? Pinliang said. Liang bro, you've thought of everything. Xiaofu said, impressed. Now's not the time for us to show off. When Zhang Naipeo leaves the mountain, that's when I, Pinliang, will show off. Pinliang said proudly. Chapter 933. Too evil. Jiang Wen had been very happy these past few days. Not only did he get his kidney back, but he also got the underground arena that the fire wolves promised him. What Jiang Wen didn't expect was that the fire wolves promised to send him a mystic early-phase physical practitioner, but now, they sent him a mystic mid-phase peak physical practitioner. This huge difference in strength surprised Jiang Wen beyond words. This was a practitioner who was one level higher than Lin Yi. Of course, Jiang Wen didn't know that Lin Yi had lost all his martial arts. He had been focusing on his kidney these past few days, and he didn't have the mood to ask about other things. However, when Jiang Wen found out that his kidney didn't match, he came back to reality from his fantasy. He didn't have the mood to think about other things anymore. He rushed to the floating cloud bar and saw Master Bing and Yao Wang. Jiang Wen knew Master Bing and Sihua. They even worked together to sell their kidneys, so they weren't strangers. Jiang Wen told them his purpose as soon as he entered the bar. Master Bing and Yao Wang, who already knew the truth, pretended to be surprised as they looked at Jiang Wen. Master Wen, didn't you get your kidney back? How can it not match? I don't know. It's like this, Zhong Pingliang said that it might be because my kidney was in his body for too long, and it's assimilated. Jiang Wen said with a bitter face, the hospital can't do anything now. They want me to have a kidney resection, but I don't want to lose my kidney. This is my original kidney, and if it's removed, wouldn't I be getting it back for nothing? So, I can only go to Yao Wang. I heard that Yao Wang is a great doctor. Do you have a way? The kidney doesn't match? Yao Wang had received a hint from Master Bing that Jiang Wen was quite rich, and he had to think of a way to get some money from him. However, Yao Wang didn't have any good ideas for Jiang Wen's current situation. His kidney wasn't even his, it was a dog's. What could he do? When Zhong Pingliang called, Yao Wang and Master Bing were discussing a solution, but they couldn't think of anything good. After all, human kidneys and dog kidneys were completely different. No matter how powerful Yao Wang was, he couldn't make them match. I'll give you a check first. The Medicine King pondered for a solution. He couldn't let this fat sheep escape. Even if the Medicine King was a swindler, his methods of swindling money were not random. Although he cheated people of their money, he also planted other diseases in them while curing their illnesses, so that he could continue to cheat them of their money. But the problem now was that he couldn't cure Jiang Wen's illness. This was not an illness at all. It was just that the organs did not match. There was no other way but to remove it. No matter how powerful he was, there was no way he could create a compatible kidney for Jiang Wen. What do you think? Yao Wang, do you have any ideas? Jiang Wen saw the frown on Yao Wang's face and his heart sank. He asked carefully. He didn't know that Yao Wang had no ideas at all. The reason why he frowned was because he couldn't find a way to cheat him of his money. That's not easy. Yao Wang shook his head pretentiously. Your kidney has already been assimilated to a great extent, yeah, otherwise I wouldn't have come to you, Yao Wang. I heard that Zheningjuan's crooked mouth and eyes were fixed by you. Can you fix my kidney too? Jiang Wen begged, I really don't want to lose this kidney again. Fix it a little. Yao Wang sighed. How was he supposed to fix this thing? This kidney wasn't even his, how was he supposed to fix it? Yao Wang didn't have any ideas. Although he could get some money out of Jiang Wen temporarily, his reputation would be ruined if Jiang Wen found out that the kidney was still rejecting him. Yao Wang cared about long-term profits, not short-term profits. He couldn't ruin his future business just because of Jiang Wen. I'm afraid that you will have to remove it. Yao Wang sighed and shook his head. Can I not remove it? Jiang Wen was on the verge of crying. He didn't think that even the famous Yao Wang couldn't do anything about it. If I don't remove you. The Medicine King wanted to say that it would be useless to keep it in his body if he did not cut it. However, he suddenly had an idea and thought of a brilliant idea. Wasn't Jiang Wen trying to keep this kidney in his body? It didn't matter if he didn't remove it. As long as he used his pure qi to seal the meridians around the kidney and make it useless, everything would be fine. As long as the nutrition of the kidney was maintained, it wouldn't die. However, it wouldn't function like a normal kidney. That was what Jiang Wen wanted. One kidney wasn't going to kill him. Jiang Wen wouldn't be able to tell if this kidney didn't function. He could just tell him that it was fixed. He was really evil. How could he come up with such a wicked idea? He was Yao Wang after all. Plus, this method was very secretive. Only people with pure qi would be able to do it. Normal people wouldn't even think of this method. Those who didn't know would think that Jiang Wen's kidney had recovered. So Yao Wang wasn't afraid of Jiang Wen going to the hospital for a checkup. What's wrong? Yao Wang, have you thought of a way to save me? Jiang Wen paused when he saw Yao Wang in deep thought. It's not that I can't do it, but it's going to cost me a lot of pure qi. I've already used up a lot of it during my treatment. I can't keep using it anymore. I can't make ends meet. Yao Wang shook his head and sighed. You know that I'm a practitioner. Pure qi is very important to me. It's even more important than my life. Practitioners can't do without pure qi. Just like Lin Yi, he's out of pure qi. Isn't he in trouble now? Yao Wang said. Lin Yi? How come Lin Yi doesn't have pure qi? Jiang Wen paused. He didn't have the time to think about Lin Yi. He quickly said, Yao Wang, saving a life is better than building a 7-floor pagoda. Please save me. I'm willing to spend any amount of money. As long as you can heal my kidney. I see. Yao Wang didn't say anything. He looked at Master Bing. Yao Wang, Master Wen used to be our partner. We had a good time working together. Now that he's in trouble, we can't just leave him to die, can we? Zhao Qibing tried to smooth things over. Chapter 934. Chapter 933, Uninvited Guest, how much? Jiang Wen asked quickly. 10 million. Yao Wang rarely asked for less than 10 million. Although this money was used to scam Jiang Wen, it wasn't used to cure his illness. Yao Wang was a black-hearted man. Even if he wanted to scam someone, he wouldn't do it cheap. Fine. Jiang Wen gritted his teeth. He wasn't rich, and most of his money was given to Housen and the Fire Wolves. But this time, the Fire Wolves gave him 20 million to start the underground arena. Taking out 10 million in one go made his heart ache. But for the sake of curing his illness, he'd rather spend it like crazy in the future. He had to spend this 10 million now. Alright, I'll do it then. Yao Wang nodded and took out his silver needles. He pretended to poke them into Jiang Wen's body, but in reality, he was secretly using his pure qi to seal the meridians around Jiang Wen's dog kidney. The dog kidney could only absorb nutrients, but it couldn't function as a normal kidney. From now on, Jiang Wen's kidney would live in his body like a parasite. Yao Wang didn't know if this would cause any side effects, but he didn't care. Now that Jiang Wen was cured, it wouldn't have anything to do with him if it happened again in the future. Who knew, he might even be able to collect a huge sum of money from him. Half an hour later, Yao Wang finished his work, sweating profusely. He wiped the sweat off his forehead and said weakly, "It's done. But I've used too much pure qi, I need to rest." Jiang Wen felt that his kidney wasn't hurting anymore after Yao Wang's work. It was really effective. He was overjoyed. That's it? Thank you, Yao Wang. Thank you, Yao Wang. Waha, I've finally become a normal person with 2 kidneys. Yeah, congratulations, Master Wen. Zhao Qibing said with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. In his heart, he was cursing the kid for being an idiot. Master Bing, I'll transfer the money to you when I get back. You won't doubt my reputation, right? Jiang Wen came in a hurry and didn't bring any money with him. He didn't use the phone transfer service. It doesn't matter. We are also long-term partners. I know your credibility. Zhao Qibing waved his hand. Just transfer it back to me when you get back. You've given me quite a lot of money in the past. No problem. Jiang Wen was thinking that he'd go back and try again to see if his kidney had recovered. If it really didn't hurt anymore, he'd transfer the money to Zhao Qibing. Now that his kidneys were healed, he remembered what Yao Wang said about Lin Yi. He asked curiously, Master Bing, what did Yao Wang say about Lin Yi? Is he out of true qi? You don't know? Zhao Qibing froze. He was the one who spread the news that Lin Yi's martial arts were crippled. Logically speaking, everyone who had a grudge against Lin Yi should have gotten the news. Why didn't Jiang Wen know? I've been peeing blood from kidney pain these past couple of days, and I'm not in the mood to care about other things, so I'm a little out of touch with the news. Jiang Wen smiled bitterly. I see. Master Bing nodded. He didn't hide anything and told Jiang Wen about what happened to Lin Yi and House Chu. He even told Jiang Wen about the Shao family, him, and how's you going to Pengzhan for money? After all, it wasn't a secret. Jiang Wen only needed to ask around when he got back. Plus, Lin Yi was Jiang Wen's enemy. Telling Jiang Wen about this would make him happy and transfer the money to him as soon as possible. Oh. So you're saying that Pengzhan has nowhere to go? Jiang Wen asked, surprised. Of course. This time, House Chu is done for. Zhao Qibing laughed. But, I really didn't think that House Yu would join in the fun. They even took all of Pengzhan Industries' shares and made Meng Yao a concubine of House Yu. TSK, that kid from House Yu got lucky. Zhao Qibing didn't think there was anything wrong with House Yu's participation. He was going to take the real estate company anyway. House Yu might be the #1 noble house in the common world, but he didn't dare to disrespect Zhao Qibing. He was leaving Pengzhan Industries, and he was going to give the real estate company to Zhao Qibing. Oh. Jiang Wen frowned in his heart, but on the surface, he looked regretful. Man, if the Firewolf supported me, I'd go and get a share. But my case just came out, it's not good for me to be in the limelight. I don't think there's a chance. Yeah, but you're really unlucky, the whole place was raided by the police. But it's good that you're fine. Where there's life, there's hope. Zhao Qibing, naturally, didn't know that Jiang Wen was thinking about other things. He thought that Jiang Wen was really sad. Forget it, I'll go first. I'll transfer the money to you when I get back, Jiang Wen said calmly. Take care, Master Wen. Zhao Qibing pretended to be warm as he said goodbye. Jiang Wen nodded and said goodbye to Zhao Qibing. He left the floating cloud bar, he had more important things to do. Jiang Wen wasn't an idiot. The reason why he was tricked by Pinliang was because he thought that the kidney belonged to him. He didn't suspect anything else at all. In fact, Jiang Wen was a very cunning person. Yao Wang, did you fix it for him? Zhao Qibing couldn't help but ask after Jiang Wen left. No. Yao Wang quickly took off his jacket. Just like last time, he used his pure energy to make himself sweat. In fact, the amount of pure energy he used on Jiang Wen wasn't even as much as the amount of pure energy he used to make himself look like he was sweating. Then you. Zhao Qibing paused. I just made his dog kidney lose its function and sealed some of his meridians. Other than absorbing nutrients like a parasite, he can't do anything else. Yao Wang explained. Huh. Zhao Qibing heard Yao Wang's explanation and was overjoyed. That's too mean, too mean. Huh, but I like it. That's right, working for Master Bing, how can you get rich without being mean? Yao Wang said respectfully, Master Bing, I'll go take a shower first. I can't take it anymore, it's so hot. Go, you really are my god of wealth. Ha ha ha. Zhao Qibing laughed happily. His luck was really good recently. Lin Yi was done for, and his business was getting bigger and bigger. Once Pengzhan and Lin Yi were done for, Songshan would be Zhao Qibing's world. After leaving the floating cloud bar, Jiang Wen drove to Pengzhan Industries. Jiang Wen was the 5th uninvited guest that came to Pengzhan Industries today. Chapter 935. Taking Advantage. Pengzhan didn't understand when he saw Jiang Wen walk in. Was he here to take advantage of the situation as well? Jiang Wen? What are you doing here? Pengzhan frowned. He didn't seem to have any conflict with Jiang Wen, and his daughter only rejected Jiang Wen's pursuit. Uncle Chu, I'm here to help you. Jiang Wen said humbly, maintaining the attitude of a junior in front of Pengzhan. He was walking a different path, not to force Pengzhan, but to take advantage of the situation. Help me? Help me with what? Pengzhan paused and asked. Uncle Chu, you must be in a lot of trouble right now, right? So many people are looking for you, Xiao family, House Yu, and Zhao Qibing. You must be panicking right now, right? Jiang Wen smiled. Did you come here to make fun of me? Pengzhan was annoyed and didn't want to waste time with Jiang Wen. What do you want? Uncle Chu, don't be so distant. Don't you know who I am? I've been Yao Yao's childhood friend since we were young, and I love her so much that I came here to help when I heard you were in trouble. Jiang Wen said. How are you going to help me? Peng Zhan asked patiently. Uncle Chu, the reason why things have turned out this way is because that kid Lin Yi is useless. He doesn't have any strength, and that's why your enemies came at the same time. Jiang Wen said, everyone kicks a man when he's down, and that's the logic of beating a dog when it's down. If Lin Yi hadn't lost his strength, would these people still be looking for trouble? Aren't you spouting nonsense? If Lin Yi was the same as before, why would they be looking for trouble? Peng Zhan wasn't happy. Beating a dog when it's down? Are you saying that I'm a dog? But Peng Zhan's temper was gone, and he didn't want to argue with Jiang Wen anymore. That's why, if you had a strong backer, wouldn't your problems be solved? Jiang Wen smiled. A powerful backer? Where's the big backer? Peng Zhan humphed impatiently. I wouldn't need you to tell me if I had a backer. It's here. Jiang Wen patted his chest disappointedly. Uncle Chu, your big support is me. You? Peng Zhan frowned. Yes, you still don't know my real background, do you? Jiang Wen introduced himself proudly. Haosan, we're working for the Fire Wolf Gang now. You must have heard of the Fire Wolf Gang? Naturally, Peng Zhan had heard of the Fire Wolves before. They were the biggest gang in the north, but they were rather secretive. They controlled a lot of businesses in the dark, but they never did anything personally. They were the kind of gang that people wouldn't easily know about. But Peng Zhan had heard that the Fire Wolves were very powerful, and many big houses had to give them face. Fire Wolf Gang? Can you get the Fire Wolves to help me? Peng Zhan asked. Of course not. Jiang Wen shook his head awkwardly. Then what's the point of saying this? Peng Zhan felt that Jiang Wen was up to no good at this time, so he didn't give him a good face. Jiang Wen laughed dryly, but we can borrow their power. If Yao Yao marries me, then she'll be the daughter-in-law of the Fire Wolves. When I show up, I believe that the Xiao family, House Yu, and even Zhao Qibing will have to give me face and give up on you. Marry you? Peng Zhan couldn't help but be amused. He finally understood what Jiang Wen was planning. So this was what he was planning, to take advantage of the situation. Yes. Jiang Wen said proudly, I'm not afraid to tell you, Uncle Chu, the Fire Wolves have sent another master to stay by my side, a physical practitioner at the peak of mid-phase of mystic class. House Zhao's Uncle Pai is only a mid-phase physical practitioner, and House Yu's Bide is only a mystic early-phase spiritual practitioner. Zhao Qibing's Yao Wang is only a mystic early-phase spiritual practitioner as well. Plus, he's an expert in medicine, so he's not even worth mentioning when it comes to actual combat. Peng Zhan froze. He didn't expect Jiang Wen to have such a master by his side. No wonder he dared to talk terms with him. I didn't expect you to have such a powerful master by your side. Peng Zhan nodded and said faintly. Yes, Uncle Chu, what do you think? As long as Yao Yao marries me, I'll announce to the public that I, Jiang Wen, am your son-in-law. Then, I'll get my mystic mid-phase physical practitioner to come out and intimidate the public. I think no one will dare disrespect me then. Jiang Wen laughed. But, I'm afraid that even if I agree, Yao Yao won't. Peng Zhan, however, rejected Jiang Wen's suggestion. So, Jiang Wen, please leave. Wah. Jiang Wen froze. He didn't expect Peng Zhan to reject his suggestion. When he first came here, he was full of confidence. As far as he knew, Peng Zhan was at his wits' end. Other than accepting his suggestion, only death awaited him. But Peng Zhan really rejected it. Jiang Wen panicked. Uncle Chu, what do you mean by this? Don't you want to protect Peng Zhan Industries anymore? To me, Yao Yao's happiness is more important than Peng Zhan Industries. Peng Zhan shook his head. Working with Jiang Wen was like asking a tiger for its skin. Especially after knowing Jiang Wen's dark background, Peng Zhan didn't want to work with him anymore. Plus, Yao Yao wouldn't agree to marry Jiang Wen. What was the difference between that and marrying into House Yu? With Yao Yao's personality, she would rather die than marry into House Yu. But, even if Yao Yao doesn't marry me, she still has to marry into House Yu. Jiang Wen said unwillingly. Could it be that Uncle Chu already has a plan? No. Peng Zhan shook his head decisively, but Yao Yao won't marry into House Yu. Jiang Wen heard Peng Zhan's words and calmed down. So Peng Zhan didn't have any other plan. So, Peng Zhan's rejection must be because he was still hoping that House Yu didn't push him too far, so Peng Zhan must think that he could negotiate with House Yu again? Chapter 936. Chapter 935, Songs Han O. Peng Zhan replied faintly, his face expressionless. Actually, I do want to help House Chu, but I don't have any grudges with the Shao family, House Yu, or Master Bing. If I don't have a reason to stand up for them, then it'll be hard for me in the future. So I can only let Yao Yao marry me, no one can say anything about it. It'll be hard on Yao Yao, but the heavens and earth can see my feelings for Yao Yao, and I'll treat her well in the future. Jiang Wen continued after seeing no response from Peng Zhan. Oh. I understand, you can leave now. Peng Zhan nodded and sent Jiang Wen away. Jiang Wen's suggestion wasn't very tempting to Peng Zhan. If Meng Yao liked Jiang Wen, then Peng Zhan would be happy to see it happen, but the problem was that his daughter didn't like Jiang Wen at all. Marrying her to Jiang Wen was the same as harming her. Alright, Uncle Chu, think about it and call me anytime. Jiang Wen nodded and left Peng Zhan's office without another word. He understood that no matter what he said, he wouldn't be able to change Peng Zhan's mind so quickly. But Jiang Wen firmly believed that Peng Zhan would call him the moment he couldn't take it anymore. After all, this was Peng Zhan's only choice. It seemed like he had to think of a way to get House Yu to put more pressure on Peng Zhan, and that was the only way Peng Zhan would come to him when he had no other choice. See you out. Peng Zhan didn't like Jiang Wen taking advantage of others like this, but he couldn't say much about it. After all, Jiang Wen wasn't looking for trouble, and Peng Zhan was already very thankful. But what should he do now? Peng Zhan fell into deep thought, a little lost. Bad news came to Wan Er's ears one after another, but she couldn't do anything about it at all. Although she was powerful and the palace master of the Dark Knight Palace, the Dark Knight Palace was controlled by the Great Elder. Without the Great Elder's permission, no one could go down the mountain without permission. Palace Master Wan Er sat uneasily in the pavilion. At this moment, she didn't have the heart to train. Her heart had already flown to Songshan City. If she could fly, she would definitely fly there. Palace Master, Elder Li is here again. Little Qing looked at the frowning Palace Master and felt very uncomfortable in her heart. However, she was only a little lass. What right did she have to speak? Let him in. Didn't I say that Elder Li can come in directly? Wan heard that Elder Li had come again, and quickly ordered Little Qing. On this day, she had already received several pieces of bad news. She had already asked Elder Li to keep an eye on the movements in Songshan City. Who knew if there would be any new news? I hope it's good news. Yes. Little Qing replied somewhat helplessly, but I have already let Elder Li directly come in. He was the one who asked me to inform the palace lord. Oh. Then bring him in quickly. Palace Master Wan Er nodded. Greetings, Palace Master. Elder Li walked in under Little Qing's lead and bowed to the Palace Master. Uncle Li, didn't I tell you to come in directly? Palace Master Wan Er asked urgently. How, is it over there? Miss, the rules can't be broken. I can't let people get hold of me anymore. Elder Li smiled bitterly. If I give up this little bit of power in the Dark Shadow Group, then I really won't be able to help you at all. Alright, I understand. Uncle Li, you're making me anxious. How are Peng Zhan and Yao Yao? Palace Master Wan Er smiled bitterly. It's still bad news. House Yu went to find them too. Elder Li sighed and shook his head. House Yu? Why did they go too? Palace Master Wan Er was shocked. How did Pengzhan offend House Yu? It's not him, young master actually didn't offend House Yu. Elderly said, it's Yu Kuan from House Yu. He broke into Mrs. Villa at night and injured Mrs. Pet Dog, General Wei Wu. Miss was furious and asked Lin Yi to kill Yu Kuan. But because of Li Fu, Lin Yi let Yu Kuan go. But Yu Kuan was now a cripple, and so House Yu used this as an excuse to take revenge on Yu. Why did House Yu break into Yao Yao's villa? What do they want? Palace Master Wan Er was really angry. It's just a common world, House Yu. How dare they touch my daughter? If Grand Elder agrees and recognizes Miss, then House Yu won't dare to touch her. Elderly smiled bitterly. Even the hidden house behind House Yu would have to think twice, not to mention House Yu, yeah. Palace Master Wan Er sighed. My poor daughter. House Yu went to Lin Yi because Lin Yi has a few pieces of the map of Sky Class Island. Elderly said. Him? He has pieces of the map. Palace Master Wan Er was surprised, but she shook her head. Let's not care about him. What did House Yu say? What do they want? House Yu proposed to let Miss marry them as a concubine and let young master's company be part of the dowry. Elderly sighed. What? Palace Master Wan Er stood up, shocked and angry. How can they be so shameless? How dare they? If Miss came, they wouldn't dare. Even if I came, House Yu wouldn't dare. But I can't leave the mountain. Elderly said helplessly. The Dark Shadow Group is in charge of gathering information. There are no masters in it, no. I'll go beg Grand Elder. I can't let anything happen to him and Yao Yao. If something happens to them, what's the point of living? Palace Master Wan Er couldn't sit still anymore. If it was really like what Elderly said, then House Chu was finished. Her daughter's life was finished. She couldn't let her daughter's life become a tragedy. She definitely couldn't. Sigh. Elderly sighed. I'll go with Miss. Palace Master Wan Er and Elderly walked quickly to Grand Elder's training area. As soon as they entered, Palace Master Wan Er said seriously, Grand Elder, Wan Er wants to leave the mountain. Leave the mountain? Have you broken through Sky Class? Grand Elder asked faintly, not caring about Palace Master Wan Er's anxious expression at all. No. That's why Wan Er asked Grand Elder to let me leave the mountain. If Wan Er breaks through Sky Class, then I can leave the mountain whenever I want. Palace Master Wan Er said. Chapter 937. Begging and rejecting. I beg of you. Grand Elder, I'm begging you, let me go. Wan Er didn't expect the Grand Elder to be so resolute. She couldn't help but kneel on the ground. Grand Elder, Wan Er's husband's family is in trouble, I can't just leave them be. Get up. You're the palace master of the Dark Palace, kneeling just like that, what's wrong with that? The Grand Elder saw how weak Wan Er was and couldn't help but be furious. Why are you so different from your grandmother when she was young? If you want to leave, then show your strength. What can you achieve by crying? Kneeling in front of the enemy, do you think he'll let you go? But Grand Elder, you're not the enemy. Please let me go. I can't lose Pengzhan and Yao Yao. Wan Er was still kneeling on the ground, begging. I said no, so no. The Grand Elder smiled coldly, don't even think about it. They're in trouble, it's better if they die, lest the Sky Elixir sect laugh at us if that bastard lives. Grand Elder, no matter what, Pengzhan is my husband, and Yao Yao is my daughter. Wan couldn't help but cry, I can't just ignore them. Humph, husband my ass, your husband is the second young master of the Sky Elixir sect. He's the one who gave the betrothal gifts. The Grand Elder said coldly, look at that Pengzhan, he can't even handle a couple of clowns, he's a complete wimp. What's there to love about someone like that? Now do you see how correct and wise my eyes are? What's the use of a wimp like that? He should just die. Although the Dark Shadow Group was in the hands of Elderly, the other people in charge of the Dark Shadow Group were also people from the Supreme Elder's side. Therefore, the news from the Dark Shadow Group could be received by the Supreme Elder immediately. Wan Er's grandmother had entrusted the Dark Night Palace to the Great Elder before she passed away. She had devoted her entire life to making the Dark Night Palace flourish. But she had never expected that the Dark Night Palace, which was connected by marriage with the Heavenly Elixir sect, would have such a scandal like Wan Er running away. Their relationship with the Heavenly Elixir sect became tense, and overnight, the Dark Night Palace became the laughingstock of the martial arts world. The Great Elder was annoyed by Wan Er's disobedience. Although he was harsh and unreasonable to her, he never thought about replacing her as the palace master. He only wanted to help her break through to sky rank. From this, it could be seen that the Grand Elder was selfless. It was just that she placed the interests of the Palace of Darkness on a level that was even more important than her own life. As for the Palace of Darkness, there was no such organization as the Dark Shadow Group before. It was only after Wan Er ran away from the marriage that the Great Elder and Elderly formed the Dark Shadow Group to search for Wan Er. This was also the reason why the Palace of Darkness found Wan Er after she got married and had a daughter in the mortal world. If the Great Elder doesn't agree, Wan Er will kneel here forever. The Palace Master Wan Er brought out the stubbornness she had when she ran away from the marriage. Oh, do whatever you want. Once you kneel until your lover and little bastard die, you'll get up naturally. The Grand Elder said nonchalantly. Grand Elder, let me say something. Elderly spoke up. Grand Elder, if something really happens to Pengzhan and Meng Yao, then I believe the Palace Master won't be in the mood to train anymore. It'll affect her training speed, and even affect the Sky Rank meeting, our Palace of Darkness ranking. Once they die, she'll naturally stop. She hasn't made any progress after all these years, isn't it because she still hasn't satisfied her lust? The Grand Elder said coldly. I want to go down the mountain. Uncle Li, you come with me. The Palace Master Wan Er heard the Grand Elder's unwavering words and stood up suddenly. Man. Elderly paused and sighed bitterly, feeling a bit helpless. Miss, even if you want to go down the mountain, you should go back and plan with me first. Going down like this, is that even possible? As expected, the Grand Elder looked at the Palace Master Wan Er as if she was a joke. Go down? Elderly, you're not going to be stupid with her, are you? Elderly smiled bitterly. I'll send the Palace Master back now. She's just a bit emotional, I'll talk to her. No need. The Grand Elder waved his hand. Men, capture the Palace Master and keep an eye on her until I say to let her out. Yes. When the highest elder finished speaking, two women dressed in the same manner as Elderly walked over. One on the left and the other on the right, they held Wan Er. Palace Master, please excuse us. These two were the same as Elderly, elders of the Dark Palace, but their skills were on par with Wan Er's. It was easy for the two of them to grab one. The Palace Master Wan Er smiled bitterly and looked at Elderly. She fainted in grief, she knew that she couldn't leave, and she regretted her impulsiveness. But, even if she didn't say anything, would she be able to go down the mountain? He was afraid that the Grand Elder would find out about it before he could even make it to the bottom. Elderly sighed. He felt that he had to do something. He knew the Miss Personality very well. She looked weak, but she was actually very strong. Otherwise, he wouldn't have suddenly run away from the wedding without any warning and caught everyone off guard. If something really happened to Pengzhan and Meng Yao, then the Miss wouldn't be able to live. A dog that barks doesn't bite, but a dog that bites knows how to bark. It was a crude phrase, but it made sense. The Miss was like that. Elderly, I'll be leaving first. Elderly said and turned to leave. Elderly, you've watched Wan Er grow up. Go and accompany her, talk to her. The Grand Elder sighed. She was afraid that Wan Er would do something extremely stupid and catch everyone off guard, so she asked Elderly to watch over her. On the other hand, the Grand Elder was also afraid that Elderly would make some private decisions and arrange things on his own, that. Okay. Elder Li naturally understood the Grand Elder's meaning and nodded his head helplessly. From the looks of it, he couldn't do anything even if he wanted to. With the other two elders watching, Elder Li really didn't have the chance to do anything. Son-in-law, little miss, I hope you can safely get through this calamity. Lin Yi, I have high hopes for you. I've always treated your appearance as an opportunity for the Miss and Miss to meet. Although I haven't figured out your background yet, it doesn't stop me from having a premonition. Chapter 938. Chapter 937. Old Chu's attitude tonight was the day Lin Yi left, but it was already very late. Peng Zhan didn't go home, but sat in the chairman's office in Peng Zhan's skyscraper, smoking. Peng Zhan didn't go to see Lin Yi off, because he didn't want to tell Lin Yi about what happened in the company and put the pressure on Lin Yi. This pressure should be shouldered by himself, not Lin Yi. Peng Zhan wasn't a heavy smoker, but the cigarette butts in the ashtray on the desk had already piled up into a small hill. Some of the butts had even fallen onto the desk, and the ash was everywhere. But Peng Zhan didn't have the mood to clean up the cigarette butts and ash. His mind was completely focused on Peng Zhan Industries and Yao Yao's future. He could give up on Peng Zhan Industries, but he couldn't give up on his beloved daughter. Peng Zhan was a person who valued relationships, and he was the polar opposite of those who valued their career. Some people could sacrifice their children's happiness for their career, forcing them to marry someone they didn't like. But Peng Zhan, for the sake of his children's happiness, was willing to give up on everyone. Peng Zhan felt like he was going to die. If some things could be solved with death, then he would rather die. But not now, he couldn't die. Even if he died, he couldn't change Meng Yao's fate. From Xiao family's words, he could hear some leeway, and Zhao Qibing's request was the most reasonable one. It wasn't an exorbitant demand, but it was still within an acceptable range for Peng Zhan. But House Yu's request was a little overboard. Not only did they take away the company's shares, but they also wanted Yao Yao to be a concubine of House Yu. If Meng Yao was willing to be someone else's concubine, then Peng Zhan would let it go. But the situation now was that Yao Yao couldn't marry into House Yu. Peng Zhan knew his daughter's personality too well, and if she was forced, she would rather die. Looking at the time, Lin Yi should have left already, right? Peng Zhan, in his helplessness, made his final decision. After hesitating for a while, he dialed his father's number. Peng Zhan really didn't want his father to worry about him anymore. His father was retired, and he should be enjoying his life, but Peng Zhan kept troubling him with company matters. This time, the Chu family had reached an extremely critical moment. If they didn't think of a solution, the Chu family might very well perish. If House Yu wanted Meng Yao to marry into their family, would Peng Zhan have to put on a wedding dress for his daughter? Peng Zhan, are you very distressed now? Old Master Chu picked up the phone and asked calmly. Father, you know what happened here? Peng Zhan paused. I know a little. Although you are the chairman of the company, don't forget that I founded Peng Zhan Industries. I have eyes and ears in the company, Old Master Chu said. Father, what should I do now? Peng Zhan Industries is finished. The Xiao family, Zhao Qibing, and House Yu are all here. In an instant, it seems like all the forces have gathered in Songshan, and all of them are coming for me. Peng Zhan heard that his father knew what happened here, and he opened his heart and poured out his heart. I'm really powerless, I don't know what to do. Peng Zhan Industries, if they want it, just give it to them. You might know a little, but when I was young, I ran a company, but because of my lack of experience, it went bankrupt. Old Master Chu smiled and consoled, and Peng Zhan Industries is my second business. When I founded Peng Zhan Industries, I was already as old as you are now. So, even if I fail this time, there's still a chance in the future. Father, I can give up on Peng Zhan Industries, but I can't give up on Yao Yao's happiness. I can't let her marry into House Yu, it'll ruin her life. Peng Zhan smiled bitterly, and you know Yao Yao's temperament, she'd rather die than marry into House Yu. Why does she have to marry into House Yu? Old Master Chu smiled, didn't I tell you to marry her to Lin Yi? Oh. Peng Zhan froze, and smiled bitterly. Lin Yi's martial arts are all crippled, and he's going back to his hometown to find a way to recover his strength. I've tried to persuade him to stay, wanting him to be my son-in-law, using Pengzhan Industries as a dowry for Yao Yao to marry him, but he rejected. Pengzhan, your thinking was wrong from the start. Pengzhan Industries is nothing to Lin Yi. So, you need to look further, don't worry about the benefits in front of you. Old Master Chu said, did you forget what I told you before? It's us, House Chu, who's trying to get on Lin Yi's good side, he's not trying to take our property. I didn't forget, I remember that, so I've always been kind to Lin Yi, treating him as one of our own. Pengzhan said humbly. Then, what's the problem in front of you? Old Master Chu smiled. Pengzhan didn't understand what his father meant. Keeping Lin Yi is more important than keeping the company. Old Master Chu said. You mean? Pengzhan paused, understanding his father's meaning, but he wasn't too sure. Isn't Lin Yi going back to his hometown to seek refuge? You can just take Yao Yao with him, Old Master Chu smiled. If Lin Yi doesn't want to stay, you'll send Yao Yao to him. But Lin Yi has a girlfriend. Plus, his girlfriend is going back with him. It's not a good idea for Yao Yao and me to follow him, right? Pengzhan felt like he was being a rascal. Who told you to follow him? Old Master Chu asked back. Don't tell him first, wait for him to leave, then you and Yao Yao will follow him. He can't kick you out when you arrive, can he? Is that so? Pengzhan said, but isn't that a little rascal? Besides, Lin Yi has a girlfriend. If Yao Yao goes like this, wouldn't she be the concubine? Although Pengzhan could accept Tang Yun because of his daughter, and he made it clear in his conversation with Lin Yi, that was based on the situation where Lin Yi married Meng Yao. That way, his daughter would be the leader, and as for Tang Yun, as long as his daughter didn't say anything, Pengzhan naturally wouldn't say anything. But now, following Lin Yi back, wouldn't that be weaker than Tang Yun? Then do you want Yao Yao to be a concubine for House Yu or a concubine for Lin Yi? Old Master Chu asked. Chapter 939. All good things must come to an end, but remember, you have to be discreet when you leave, and you have to leave before Xiao family, House Yu, and Zhao Qibin find you. Once they find you, you won't be able to leave even if you want to. Old Chu reminded. I understand, father. Pengzhan nodded. Lil Yi should have left already. I'll go pack up and follow him with Yao Yao tonight. House Chu's villa. Lin Yi didn't have much luggage, only a small bag with a few sets of clothes the miss gave him, as well as the Waniankan box he got from the auction, and the 2 pieces of map that he didn't know what they were for. These 2 days, Lin Yi tried his best to avoid seeing Meng Yao and Yushu. He wasn't a plant or a tree, he couldn't be emotionless. Lin Yi had feelings for the Miss and Shu. Or rather, it was more or less the same as Tang Yun. After all, the daily interactions had made Lin Yi fall in love with these 2 girls. One was cold on the outside but warm on the inside, and the other was dumb on the outside but not dumb on the inside. But, no matter if Lin Yi wanted to face it or not, the day of parting had finally come. In the living room, Meng Yao and Yushu watched Lin Yi pack up his luggage. They sat on the sofa quietly, a little sad. Yao Yao sis, is Shield Bro really leaving? Yushu's eyes reddened again. Her tone this time was different from usual. There wasn't the playful tone anymore, it was a little depressed. Yes, he's leaving. Meng Yao nodded. So it's true. This day has really come. Yushu sighed. Yeah, it's true. Meng Yao nodded again. Yao Yao sis, I want to go with him. Yushu said suddenly. What are you talking about? How can you go with him? Meng Yao shook her head with a smile. We're about to take the college entrance exam, are we not going to take it? Aren't we going to school? Oh. Yushu nodded. Let's go, we'll go see if Lin Yi needs any help. Meng Yao stood up and walked towards Lin Yi's bedroom. Meng Yao used to hate this bedroom. Whenever Lin Yi was there, she would avoid it. She didn't know when it started, but this feeling had changed. She had gotten used to Lin Yi's existence, and this room was Lin Yi's. Meng Yao had already treated Lin Yi as a part of the villa, and was used to the happiness she felt when Lin Yi was around. Lin Yi, do you need our help? Meng Yao asked as she stood at the door, staring at Lin Yi's back. Ah. Lin Yi smiled. It's fine. I don't have much luggage. I only have the clothes you gave me. I'll take them with me. Meng Yao felt a lump in her throat. She wanted to cry. Lin Yi didn't forget to take the clothes she gave him. Meng Yao was touched. Will you think of me and Shu? Meng Yao asked. Of course. Lin Yi nodded. It'll be a beautiful memory. I'll cherish it for the rest of my life. Me. Me too. Meng Yao mustered up her courage and whispered. Me too. Yushu said. Shield bro, you can't forget me. I can't forget you even if I forget Yao Yao. Lin Yi smiled. Humph. The miss didn't know whether to laugh or cry at Lin Yi's words. Alright, I'm leaving. Lin Yi said as he picked up his luggage from the bed, turned around, and walked towards the door. However, the miss and Yushu stood at the door. They didn't move away from Lin Yi. All good things must come to an end, right? Lin Yi smiled. My duty is over. Don't be so unprepared when the new bodyguard comes. It's easy for me to go upstairs. Just be careful of him stealing the miss. You jerk. Meng Yao blushed. She glared at Lin Yi. She wanted to say, why don't you come up then? But she couldn't say it. This wasn't a joke. How could she laugh when Lin Yi was leaving? Take care of yourself. General Weiwu can be trusted. It's very powerful. It can handle normal enemies. Lin Yi nodded to the Mississippi, N. Meng Yao knew that Lin Yi was telling the truth. She couldn't block the door and stop Lin Yi from leaving. She pulled Shu to the side, but her heart was sad. Lin Yi put on his backpack and walked out of his room, but paused for a second as he walked to the villa's entrance. He felt sad. This was the mission that he missed the most, but it was also the mission that he failed the most. Shield bro. Yushu called Lin Yi suddenly. N? Lin Yi turned around and looked at Yushu. What's wrong, Shu? Will you come back after you recover your strength? Back to the villa? Yushu asked. If I recover to a higher level than before, I will come back. Lin Yi nodded and said. But Lin Yi knew that it would be difficult. He said it to comfort Yushu. External martial arts were different from spiritual martial arts. Once external martial arts reached a certain level, there would be a bottleneck. This bottleneck was 100 times harder to break than the bottleneck of spiritual martial arts. If one wanted to practice external martial arts and reach a higher level than before, he would need to be at least mystic mid-phase. Yushu nodded. Then it's a deal. If you recover to a higher level than before, you have to stay in the villa forever with me and Yao Yao sis. It's a deal. Lin Yi nodded with a smile. I want a pinky promise. Yushu ran over and stuck out her pinky. Okay. Lin Yi helplessly made a pinky promise with Yushu and even stamped, pinky promise for 100 years. Whoever changes will be General Weiwu. Yushu said. Lin Yi nodded. It was time for him to leave. Goodbye Songshan, goodbye Villa. Goodbye those people he was familiar with. Woof woof. General Weiwu seemed to feel the sad atmosphere and barked at Lin Yi. General Weiwu, protect Yao Yao and Shu. Lin Yi was very confident in this highly intelligent Golden Division dog. It had a high IQ and could probably understand his conversation with Yao Yao and Shu. Otherwise, it wouldn't have such a strong reaction when Lin Yi went out every day. Woof woof. General Weiwu quickly ran to Lin Yi and jumped into Lin Yi's arms. Chapter 940. Meridian Repair. A familiar energy flowed into Lin Yi's body rapidly. Just when the energy entered Lin Yi's body, Lin Yi's muscles contracted and his pores opened up, greedily absorbing the energy. Lin Yi's body was like a sponge that had lost its water. Once he entered the water, he started to absorb the energy crazily. This was his own energy. Lin Yi was too familiar with this feeling. At this moment, Lin Yi was like a drop of water falling into the embrace of the ocean. He couldn't help but moan in comfort. As the energy flowed into his body, Lin Yi's damaged meridians started to repair themselves rapidly. Lin Yi's eyes widened as he looked at General Weiwu with surprise and joy. General Weiwu seemed to be in pain, but it didn't run away. It was still lying in Lin Yi's arms. Sometimes, one could walk all over the place, only to find it effortlessly by chance. The energy in General Weiwu's body, wasn't it his own energy? Just when Lin Yi was troubled by the lack of energy in his body and couldn't repair his meridians, Lin Yi forgot that General Weiwu, strictly speaking, was his master's dog. General Weiwu's energy was his energy, so he could use it on himself without any problem. Don't disturb me. Lin Yi didn't have the time to explain to Meng Yao and Yushu anymore. He carried General Weiwu into his room and locked the door. Meng Yao and Yushu, on the other hand, were confused by Lin Yi's sudden action. Yao Yao sis, what's wrong with Shield Bro? Yushu looked at the closed door and asked curiously. I don't know, Meng Yao shook her head. She was puzzled as well. What was Lin Yi doing? They were about to leave, but he suddenly carried General Weiwu into his room. What was he trying to do? Did Shield Bro see General Weiwu and can't bear to leave? Yao Yao, are you telling me that our relationship isn't as deep as General Weiwu and Shield Bro's? Yushu's tone suddenly turned bitter. Meng Yao didn't know how to answer because she really didn't know what Lin Yi was doing with General Weiwu, but why did he close the door? Did he want to do something to General Weiwu before he left? But that's not right, General Weiwu is a male. Yushu asked curiously, oh? Is Shield Bro gay? Shu, what are you thinking? His thoughts are so complicated. Meng Yao glared at Yushu, the girl was getting more and more out of line. Do you want a beating? I don't. Yushu stuck her tongue out and shut her mouth. Since he doesn't want us to disturb him, then let's not disturb him. Meng Yao was panicking. General Weiwu was much stronger than before, and she knew that Lin Yi had lost all his martial arts, so he was no different from an ordinary person. Meng Yao was afraid that General Weiwu jumped on Lin Yi and used too much force when Lin Yi wasn't prepared, causing Lin Yi to be injured. That was why he couldn't wait to heal himself in his room. However, Meng Yao was afraid that Shu would be worried if she said it out loud. It was just a guess, what if it wasn't the truth? Lin Yi went back to his room and sat cross-legged on the bed. He closed his eyes and enjoyed the energy that came from General Weiwu's body to nourish his injured meridians. On Lin Yi's face, there was an expression of comfort and pain. At this moment, Lin Yi was in pain and happiness at the same time. Lin Yi, who had become an ordinary person, couldn't stand the surging energy from General Weiwu entering his body. However, when the energy entered his body and healed his meridians, Lin Yi felt extremely comfortable. Inside Lin Yi's body, the meridians were healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. Fu dash. Lin Yi took a deep breath. One of the main meridians in his body had healed itself under General Weiwu's energy. Lin Yi's face showed an expression of relief. It was time, it was finally time. He didn't have to hide anymore. Lin Yi wasn't completely clueless about the things that happened in Songshan these 2 days. How could Lin Yi not know that all the major forces were looking for trouble with Chu Pengzhan at the same time? Fatty Lai was also a businessman, how could he not know? He just didn't know the details of the conditions. But what could Lin Yi do even if he knew? Lin Yi was still helpless. Other than finding a way to recover his strength, there was no other way. Of course, Lin Yi only thought that these forces were only after Chu Pengzhan's assets. Although he was depressed, he didn't say anything. After all, whatever they lost today, Lin Yi would definitely come back and make them pay with their own hands. Lin Yi just remembered that the energy he used to heal his meridians came from General Weiwu. Lin Yi was shocked. He opened his eyes and looked at General Weiwu, who was in his arms. He saw that General Weiwu's face was filled with pain. Its already ugly face was twitching. It was terrifying. This energy originally belonged to Lin Yi. Lin Yi naturally knew how much energy was needed to heal a meridian. Now that all of it came from General Weiwu's body, could it withstand it? With that thought, Lin Yi subconsciously wanted to put General Weiwu down. But something strange happened again. General Weiwu seemed to be glued to Lin Yi's body and couldn't let go at all. The energy in its body was still pouring into Lin Yi's body. Lin Yi's face froze. What was going on? Lin Yi suddenly remembered that when he was treating Xiao Xiao, a similar situation happened. The energy in his body suddenly leaked out uncontrollably. With that in mind, Lin Yi had a pretty good idea of what was going on. If he didn't seal some of the acupuncture points in the recipient's body, the energy in his body would be sent to the recipient uncontrollably. Didn't something similar happen when he was treating General Weiwu? In order to avoid wasting energy, Lin Yi had to seal some of Bojia's acupoints with silver needles before treating him. However, that was based on the fact that he was using the art of dragon mastery. Only then would the energy be transferred from his body to the recipient. But General Weiwu didn't know the art of dragon mastery, so how did he control the energy in his body? Could it be that it was only because it was a tall dog that he had modified, so it resonated with his body, resulting in this effect? Chapter 941. Dog of the same master. General Weiwu in front of him seemed to be getting weaker and weaker. In the end, he couldn't even open his eyes. However, there was nothing he could do. He could only watch as the energy from General Weiwu's body flowed into his body and continued to repair his damaged meridians. As time passed, Lin Yi could clearly feel that the energy inside General Weiwu's body was getting weaker and weaker. The energy that flowed into his body wasn't as strong as before. He wasn't sure if it was because the repair of his meridians increased his endurance or General Weiwu was really dying. General Weiwu, I hope you can hold on. Thank you for helping me get through this. Once I recover my strength, I will help you recover your strength too. The energy was getting weaker and weaker. Finally, there wasn't a single drop left. General Weiwu separated from Lin Yi's body and collapsed on Lin Yi's bed. He didn't know if he was dead or alive. Phew. Lin Yi could clearly feel the energy in his body. He recovered, he really recovered. Although the meridians in his body weren't completely healed, and even if they were healed, the energy stored in them was still very weak. But Lin Yi knew that he wasn't far from recovering his strength. This feeling was really comfortable. Lin Yi took a deep breath and hugged General Weiwu. He placed it in his arms and entered the space of the jade pendant. This way, once Lin Yi's meridians were all repaired, there would be extra energy. Then, when Lin Yi activated the art of dragon mastery, the energy would be continuously transferred to General Weiwu's body. This way, he could ensure that General Weiwu could be healed in the shortest time possible. Lin Yi was afraid that he wouldn't be able to heal General Weiwu in time after he fully recovered his strength. The advantage of this was that he could provide energy to General Weiwu first. After General Weiwu recovered his strength, he could recover his own strength. Jiao Lao, my meridians are repaired. As soon as Lin Yi entered the space of the jade pendant, he couldn't wait to enter the cultivation state and activate the art of dragon mastery. Jiao Yazi glanced at Lin Yi, but he didn't want to disturb him. It wouldn't be too late to talk about it after he finished cultivating. The energy in the space of the jade pendant was instantly mobilized by Lin Yi and surged madly into Lin Yi's body. However, the energy in the jade space was more than 100 times stronger than the energy that came from General Weiwu. Fortunately, Lin Yi's meridians were almost fully repaired. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to withstand such a terrifying surge of energy. A strange flush appeared on Lin Yi's face. This was a sign that his body was gradually recovering. Lin Yi could feel that all the injuries in his body seemed to have started the self-healing process at the same time. This was many times faster than using General Wei Wu's energy to repair his meridians one by one. The energy in the space of the jade pendant seemed to be endless and inexhaustible. Lin Yi was like a person who just came back from the desert and desperately needed water. He greedily absorbed the energy in the space for his own use. As the endless energy surged into his body, Lin Yi's tightly shut eyes suddenly opened and joy appeared on his rosy cheeks. It was repaired, it was really repaired. Lin Yi could feel that all the injuries in his body were healed. His meridians could once again store energy like before. After the joy, Lin Yi didn't stop. He closed his eyes again and continued to use the art of dragon mastery. The energy in the space of the jade pendant continued to flow into Lin Yi's body. However, because Lin Yi's body was hugging General Wei Wu who was about to die and Lin Yi was using the art of dragon mastery, the energy that flowed into Lin Yi's body didn't stay in Lin Yi's body. Instead, it stopped after the meridians were repaired and used Lin Yi's body as a medium. The energy was sucked into Lin Yi's body from the space of the jade pendant. After completing the conversion process, it flowed into General Wei Wu's body, therefore, Lin Yi could finally take a break from his busy schedule. The energy wasn't absorbed by Lin Yi, so Lin Yi could open his eyes and speak. Phew! Lin Yi let out a long breath. Ever since he was injured, he had never felt so good. Seeing that Lin Yi opened his eyes again, Zhao Yazi looked at Lin Yi strangely. Little Lin Yi, why didn't you continue your cultivation? No, you're still absorbing energy. No. But, all the energy that I absorbed is given to General Wei Wu first. It's just beside me. Lin Yi felt refreshed and his body was filled with the passion of battle. I didn't expect you to recover your strength in this situation. I was careless and forgot that you have a dog from the same sect. Zhao Yazi exclaimed, if I remembered it earlier, your meridians wouldn't have been repaired until now. Oh yeah, Zhao Lao, I want to ask, why can I use the energy in General Wei Wu's body? Lin Yi asked curiously, but the energy in my body can only be released after I use the art of dragon mastery? Hee, that's because you're different from that dog. Its strength comes entirely from you, not from itself. Zhao Yazi seemed to know that Lin Yi would ask this question. He laughed and said, so, it can only be called a yellow class inner chi master dog. Yellow class inner chi master dog? Lin Yi repeated this nondescript name and looked at Zhao Yazi confusedly. What does that mean? It's simple. It's the same as other golden class inner chi masters. It has the strength of a golden class inner chi master, but it doesn't know how to cultivate. It can't absorb energy by itself, and it can't level up by itself. To put it bluntly, it's a master that you created. It will be the same as you created it in the future. Zhao Yazi explained. As for why the energy in its body suddenly surged back into your body, that's even simpler. Because it was created by you, all the energy in its body comes from you. It's like you're placing your energy in its body. When you don't need it, it can borrow your energy to become a golden class dog. But when you need it, you can take it back at will. Chapter 942. Lin Yi was shocked. This was a passive skill. When he used it, both he and General Wei Wu would be in a passive state and couldn't be controlled. But, isn't the energy in my body omnipotent? If my opponent is injured, will he absorb the energy in General Wei Wu's body? Lin Yi suddenly thought of a scary possibility and asked. If this skill was passive, then when others needed energy, would today's scene also happen? No. Zhao Yazi said something in English. Why not? Lin Yi didn't understand. The art of dragon mastery is actually an omnipotent chant for energy conversion. You can use this chant to absorb the energy in nature and the space in the jade pendant into your body and convert it into the form of pure energy that you need and store it in your body. Jiao Yazi explained, other people's kung fu is different from yours, so the type of pure energy they need is different too. The energy in your body is called omnipotent because you can use the art of dragon mastery to convert it into any type of energy you need. That's why you can save injured people. But General Weiwu doesn't know the art of dragon mastery. The energy in its body will always be your own energy. Other than you, no one else can use it because it can't convert it. I see. Lin Yi suddenly understood the logic behind it. No wonder General Weiwu's energy didn't need to use the art of dragon mastery to convert it. It was because it was its own energy. General Weiwu didn't cultivate pure energy before, so whatever Lin Yi lost to it was what it was. But it was different for others. Lin Yi's pure energy couldn't be used without the art of dragon mastery. Luckily you held back, or else we'd be in trouble this time. Jiao Yazi sighed, but everything has its own destiny. It's good that you can get through this successfully. Hee, but with General Weiwu, I have another trump card to protect my life. It seems like I can still use the true energy bomb. Lin Yi smiled coldly. With this trump card, he could fight against opponents who were a few levels higher than him. But it's better if you don't use it if you can. Jiao Yazi shook his head. Huh? Lin Yi was startled as if he was splashed with cold water. First, if it doesn't explode properly and explode into your heart or brain, you won't have to wait for the dog to get energy. You'll die immediately. Jiao Yazi said. Lin Yi nodded with a bitter smile. It was true that this chi bomb was very dangerous. It was the type of bomb that harmed others without benefiting himself. It was basically a sure-kill attack that would take the enemy down with itself. Second, if you can't kill your opponent in one blow, he'll kill you. Jiao Yazi said, so, I advise you to increase your strength through cultivation. Don't use such unorthodox methods unless you have no other choice. I understand. Lin Yi nodded, you're right. Only by increasing your strength is true strength. It's fine to use these methods when you have no other choice, but if you keep using them, you'll be harming yourself and others. Hee, it's good that you've thought it through. Jiao Yazi smiled and nodded. General Weiwu, who was beside Lin Yi, was rapidly absorbing the energy from Lin Yi's body. It snuggled comfortably next to Lin Yi, enjoying the nourishment of the energy. Before this, General Weiwu's heart almost exploded from fear. It was just reluctant to leave Lin Yi and wanted to be close to Lin Yi for the last time. However, it didn't expect that once it touched Lin Yi's body, the energy in General Weiwu's body was uncontrollably absorbed by Lin Yi. Although General Weiwu didn't know what was going on, it was instinctively afraid. Previously, it obtained an unknown energy from Lin Yi which made it extremely strong. It could kill a person with one kick. Now that the energy returned to Lin Yi's body, how could it not be afraid? However, General Weiwu didn't think of struggling to escape. Although it was afraid, when it saw Lin Yi's inexplicably comfortable expression, it knew that what happened now was probably beneficial to Lin Yi. General Weiwu was a loyal dog. Its life was saved by Lin Yi and its strength was given by Lin Yi. Therefore, if Lin Yi wanted to take it back, he could take it back anytime. General Weiwu was afraid, but it didn't complain. Therefore, General Weiwu persisted until the last bit of energy entered Lin Yi's body before it fainted. It didn't know if it could survive, but if Lin Yi could recover, he could protect Yao Yao and Shu. After some time, General Weiwu woke up again. What surprised it was that the familiar energy that could increase its strength was continuously flowing into its body from Lin Yi's body. This was similar to the first time he received the energy, but this time, Lin Yi was lying down as if he was in a deep sleep. General Weiwu subconsciously thought that it absorbed the energy that entered Lin Yi's body. It wanted to jump away, but it realized that it couldn't. Its body seemed to be glued to Lin Yi's body. General Weiwu was shocked, but when it saw that Lin Yi's face was rosy and there was nothing wrong with him, It laid down quietly and accepted the energy that came from Lin Yi's body. After some time, General Weiwu started to feel uncomfortable because it could clearly feel that the energy in its body was almost full, but the energy that came from Lin Yi's body was still flowing into its body. Boom! General Weiwu was furious. It felt like it was going to explode from Lin Yi's energy. The next moment, it fainted beside Lin Yi, not knowing what was going on anymore. This time, Lin Yi, who was in the jade space, was shocked. He didn't know how much energy General Weiwu needed to recover, so he kept sending energy to it. As long as it could receive the energy, he would pour it in. In the end, he didn't control the amount and caused General Weiwu to explode. You're tuning into the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.